Hey, this is Kevin Kelly. Get ready for the latest episode of the Stardom Cast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Stardom Cast, a podcast we talk all things about the fantastic, amazing, and spectacular professional wrestling company that is Stardom, and we do it in a positive and what I like to think fun manner. I'm your host for this episode. My name is Matt Turner, and folks, buckle up because we have an absolutely loaded, jam-packed, fun episode for you, and I will be doing this one solo as Rob Goodwin is in the process of moving and will not have his internet set up for about another week or so. So some of these episodes, between the Patreon episodes, which I'll get into in a moment, and these weekly episodes, they'll be just Matt Turner exclusives, just me in the microphone. So thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for bearing with me. And I hope that you all enjoy what is going to be an absolutely fun episode, because we have not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 Stardom shows to talk about. Yes, because it is Golden Week. So we have 5 Stardom shows to talk about. We also have the Marigold 8-person tag match that pitted the Marigold team versus Team Pro Wrestling Noah. We also have the All-Together tag match between Natsupoi and Starlight Kid taking on the O2 line team of Azumi and Mayu and Tam. We have that to talk about. We have some news and notes. Absolutely jam-packed episode. Really, really fun stuff. So, yeah, I hope that you will all enjoy it. Again, I'm doing this one solo. I might have to take a break somewhere in between, but who knows? Maybe I'll just tough it out and just run through the whole entire thing today. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're better today than you were yesterday. I hope you're better this week than you were last week, and I hope you're better this month than you were last month. I hope everybody's enjoying the beautiful weather. We've had a string of good days here in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania for me. So, I guess without any further ado, folks, let's crack this baby open. Let's get all to talk about, ready to talk about all things Stardom with a little bit of Marigold news. And I'm really excited to get towards the end of this episode to talk about that Match of the Year candidate, one of the best tag matches in the history of Stardom between FWC and Crazy Star, because boy howdy, that was absolutely fantastic. Before we get into the little bit of news, let's talk about what's coming up on the Patreon this past week for the alternate commentary. Again, I was solo, so we did Mayu and Tam defending the World of Stardom Championship against Momo Watanabe from Korakuen Hall, and that was on the Stardom's 9th anniversary show. So also coming up this next week, I'm going to be doing another alternate commentary solo, but I might be doing a bonus episode. I know myself and Rob, we do have on the docket Yuzuki Ayakawa versus Nanai Takahashi. We also have Micah defending the World of Stardom Championship against Megan Bain from the ECW arena from the show in Philadelphia. And then we also have May Sarah defending the High Speed Championship against Hazuki from the anniversary show just this past this past February from Nagoya Supreme Fight. I guess I can't get enough of May Sarah versus Hazuki. Not only in tag situations but in singles matches as well. So heavy on the May Sarah versus Hazuki this month. And who's going to complain? Because those two are absolutely magic. Also, I just recorded a brand new thing. I just recorded it yesterday. Brand new segment that myself and Andy Header will be doing as part of the Patreon, the Stardom Cast Extra, where myself and Andy, once a month, we're going to be looking at a tag match from Stardom's history. We're going to be breaking down the psychology, the whole kind of peeling back the curtain, showing why, certain things are happening in the match. 2 pro wrestlers, 2 tag wrestlers, kind of just shining a little light in on kind of a couple nifty things going on in pro wrestling, especially tag teams, because I'm a big fan of tag team wrestling, especially when it's done right. And I don't need to tell you, folks, nobody is doing tag team wrestling any better than Stardom, because between O2 Line and Crazy Star and FWC and this new tag team Mutual Love, and then I guess Sayori Poi and Meltier and There's just so many great tag teams going on. Wingori, so many great tag teams going on in Stardom. So for the first few months, myself and Andy, this breakdown of tag matches we're going to be doing is going to be for all tiers, from 1 all the way up until 10. And then once we get a groove, we'll kind of figure out where we want to put it. We just want to offer it to every single one of you that is paying for the Patreon. And if you're on the fence about joining the Patreon, you can join for just as little as $1 a month. You can get the shows early and ad-free, plus some nifty stuff from myself and Andy Header. Now, it's not part of the Patreon, but last weekend I did an interview with Alyssa Marino. Alyssa is the commentator for the Spark Joshi Wrestling Company. Yes, same Spark Joshi Wrestling Company that you do see Starlight Kid wearing their championship belt. So I did that interview last week. I'm not sure when we're going to put it up. We're going to put up the audio version on the weekly feed, and then we're going to be putting up the video version on our YouTube. It's just between with Rob not having internet, and then I have Sean doing all the editing, all the video, putting up all the uploading. So, and Sean has 2 jobs as well, so he's stretched very thin. So sometime this month, we will be getting that Alyssa Marino interview again on the free feed, as well as the video feed going up on the YouTube. So lots of really, really good stuff. And thanks everybody for bearing with us while, again, Rob is moving and his internet won't have internet for, I think he said for like 2 weeks, so probably about a week and a half or so he should be back on. But there's just a lot of really cool stuff going on with us here over at the Stardom Cast. So Sean is working extra hard for us these next few weeks, picking up the slack where Rob isn't been able to really do any of the uploading. And then I'm doing the majority of the bulk lifting as far as the bonus episodes, the Patreon episodes, and then the weekly episodes. So thanks everybody for bearing with us and understanding. And trust me, folks, I've moved a handful of times. I think I got one more move left in me. I would much rather be watching Stardom matches and doing this podcast and doing alternate commentary, because I'm not a fan of moving. And I am a huge fan of Stardom and pro wrestling. So that's everything that's coming up on the Patreon and everything that's on the Patreon. Like I said, a lot of really cool stuff coming up in May. Oh, and also don't forget, we just locked down a date that we're going to have Karen Peterson back on the Stardom Cast Extra, as myself, Rob, and Karen will be doing our roundtable discussion of a Stardom career retrospective of one Utami Hayashishita. So that'll be in your feeds by the end of the month. Like I said, a lot of really cool stuff between alternate commentaries, what if, this new stuff that myself and Andy are doing. A lot of excellent stuff, and really a great time to join the Stardom Cast Extra. Plus, you get all that back catalog, all the alternate commentaries, all the what ifs, all the retrospectives, all the roundtable discussions for just pennies a day. Pennies a day. I just can't sell it anymore. I can't sell it anymore. Really, really good stuff. And I just want to thank everybody that has joined the Patreon over the last 5 or 6 weeks. I think we've got something like 11 new Patreon members over the last month and change. So thanks, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the content that we're providing. And as always, we take suggestions. So if there's a match you'd like for me to do alternate commentary to, or a tag match you want me and Andy to break down the psychology, let me know. You guys know how to get a hold of me. Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and or the Twitter. All right, that's enough shilling. Let's get into the news and notes. So, complete opposite from last week, where we had no shows to talk about and it was nothing but news. We only have a little bit of news items this week and a whole lot of shows to talk about. So, let's get into it, shall we? Marigold announced their Korakuen Hall show and their complete card. Now, once again, once the first Marigold show drops, which will be on the 20th in just in a few weeks, that there'll be 2 different, the podcast feed will still be on the Stardom Cast, but we're going to be doing one strictly for Stardom and one strictly for Marigold. You don't need to subscribe to another feed. Everything's going to be under the Stardom Cast feed. We're just going to be doing a little bit of news and notes until the 20th, until that drops. And then the Stardom Cast will just completely Stardom. And then the Marigold Experience, which again will be under the Stardom Cast feed, will be nothing but Marigold. So, anywho, the card for Korakuen Hall is as follows. Victoria Yazuki, also known as Yazuki, the super rookie, taking on the legend Nanae Takahashi. I'm going to apologize ahead of time, folks, because I might be butchering some of these names. Eventually, I will get the hang of it, I promise. Mirai taking on Chika, which I'm really looking forward to that match. Tag team match, as we have Natsumi Shizuki and Misa Manamusu versus Amarami Kokoko and Chika Goto. Chika Goto, I know, because of Haruka Goto. Don't know anything about those 4 ladies, but again, new company. I'm super excited for it. We have Nanae Ishikawa, who was the fake Tam, taking on Miyuki Anano. And then we have, in what looks like it's going to be our semifinal match, Mai Sakurai and her hat taking on our teaming up with Zeta Steel to take on the team of Myla Grace and a lady that I am a big fan of and only seen a couple times wrestle. And I apologize, miss. I know I'm probably going to mispronounce your name, at least for now. Nagisi Nozaki. That is probably going to be the semifinal tag match, and I'm really looking forward to that one. That one might seal the show. And in the main event, what a very unlikely tag team, the tag team of two former World of Stardom champions, the tag team of two former Goddess of Stardom champions, the tag team of two winners of the 5-Star Grand Prix, Julia and Utami Hayashishita, taking on Saori and Bozilla. And what a big spotlight for Bozilla to be part of this. Saori is obviously somebody that a lot of people are highlighting, had that match of the year candidate with Mayu Otani back at All-Star Grand Queendom just a few weeks ago. And obviously Julia and Utami Hayashishita are two wrestlers that a lot of people, not only in the Joshi scene, but in the world of pro wrestling, are talking about. And Bozilla inserted in the main event of this first show in Korakuen Hall. Yeah, super excited for it and can't wait to watch it. I believe, because it is on the 20th. How about this? How lucky am I? My birthday is May 19th. On the 18th, we have Flash and Champions. And then on the 20th, we have this Marigold show in Korakuen Hall. What a lucky guy I am. What a blessed individual that I am. Literally the best birthday present, right? And I believe myself and Rob, again, pending on what his internet situation is going to look like, depending on what his moving situation is going to look like, we're more than likely going to record on the 20th, which is a Monday. We're going to do our very first Marigold Experience show. We're going to review that show and the news and notes of everything, moving forward. We might do that one as a live stream. Since the first two live streams that we did we did the first one in December for Dream Queendom, and then we just did one 2 weeks ago for All-Star Grand Queendom. Were really fun to do. They got nothing but positive response, so we might do that one as a live stream. We shall see. So, yeah, really super excited for that Marigold card. And I did like the press conference when Julia and Utami Hayashishita were taking pictures, and Julia tried to put her arm on the Utami's shoulder, and Utami was shrugging it off, and then vice versa. So, by the way, look how jacked Julia. Did anybody see how jacked Julia looked? She really, like, she's been doing her tricep extensions in her nose breakers. It's really jacked up in the triceps and the biceps area there. So doing the preacher curls, she's ready to rock and roll for this Marigold show. And then once it's time for her to come over here to the States for NXT, I think she's a ready-made star. I don't need to tell you folks that. I do want to talk about Mayu Otani, the icon of Stardom, just about everybody's favorite wrestler, one of their favorite wrestler, her first pitch. Folks, if you're fans of the Howard Stern show like I am, it was a very, she Baba Booeyed it. Gary Delabate threw out one of the worst pitches in the history of worst pitches. And Mayu's wasn't as bad as good old Gary Delabate. Hers wasn't that good either. What I did find interesting is over here in the States, once they have a celebrity throw out the first pitch, it's just the celebrity on the mound throwing the pitch with the catcher. Where I've noticed this, and I'm sure everybody, if you listen to this, you've seen it's all over social media, that they had the batter there, which I thought was very interesting, and Mayu almost hit the batter with it. Considering the fact that her and Stardom have gone out of their way to post many videos of Mayu training for this first pitch, and the fact that it almost ended up in being the batter, I thought was funny. But Mayu, God bless her, she just seemed, she's Mayu. I mean, she's Mayu. She's one of the best, if not the greatest, female wrestler to ever step into pro wrestling, bringing the fact that she's in her prime and we're going to be getting nothing but better matches, and she's going to be doing nothing but adding to her resume. Just goes to show the legend that Mayu is. So it was really nice. She came out. She was all, again, being Mayu, all smiles, all happy. And then she threw her first pitch. Again, not the best, not the worst either. I've seen worse. And you could just see the smile on her face that she absolutely loved it. She knew. She's like, oh, I thought that was it's so endearing on just the individual, just the wonderful person that is one, Mayu Iwatani. So hopefully she gets another crack at it sometime soon. I hope so. I really hope so. And then the last bit of news, again, not much on the news, is that they announced the full card for the Hana Kimura Memorial Show. And it looks like the main event is going to be Veni taking on Marigold's own, again, former World of Stardom champion, former Wonder of Stardom champion, and one Julia. And considering the fact that Julia and Hana's, their feud which really kind of culminated at the end of 2019 in Stardom year-end climax. That was really the shot, like how the Hana feud is really gave Julia the shot to kind of put her into the main event status in Stardom. And the fact that Julia was never able to participate in any of these Hana Kimura tribute shows was kind of like, that's kind of odd. Why isn't she there? And from what I understand, is one of the first things that she said when she left Stardom and she, went to sign for Marigold, is that she wanted to participate in the Hana Kimura show because it was very important to her. So, good on her. Good on her that she's going to be in the Hana Kimura tribute show. So, and then she's going to be taking on a fantastic wrestler like Venny. It does look like it is going to be in the main event. Also, we've seen Stardom wrestlers Sarayanu, Sherry. They're going to be part of this show as well. So Chihiro Hashimoto is going to be on it. So it looks like it's going to be another fantastic tribute to the late great one Hana Kimura, and I'm super excited to watch the show. Now, obviously, we're going to review it. I don't know what side. I don't have to talk to Rob. I don't know which podcast we'll review it for. We'll review it for the Stardom Cast or the Marigold Experience. We'll see. But regardless, it'll be in your feeds. If you haven't done so, subscribe to the Stardom Cast, and you'll get that full review when it comes up at the end of the month. Okay, folks, that will do it for the news and notes, as I have notes everywhere here. I just want to make sure I hit on everything. And let's get into these show reviews, shall we? So I will start with the Marigold show, just because now I have a separate tablet. Yeah, if you listened to the show before, I'm old school. When I do my notes, I have a actual pen and a notebook. So it's just easier for me to write than type, and it's just how my brain works. So had to start a new tablet, folks, for Marigold. And again, these Marigold shows will be on the Marigold Experience. But I want to review this. So we go to the 4th of May. May the 4th be with you. How about that? For all you Star Wars fans. We go to Sumo Hall for the Noah Wrestle Magic pay-per-view. This show was in front of, and by the way, Darren Chatton, nothing but love and respect for you, my friend. He gave me all of the attendance numbers for all these shows we are going to cover. Rob usually pulls all the news, and then he gets the attendance numbers, and then he gets the attendance numbers, and that's when he reads them on air. Obviously, I knew Rob was going to be here. Darren's my go-to. I was like, hey, man, whenever you get a chance, these are the shows I need the dates for, are the attendance for. No rush. And I think I did tell him, hey, man, no rush. Whenever you get to him, you get to him. You always help me out. I think it was less than 5 minutes later he gave me the attendance number. So, Darren, you're the man. If you didn't live so far away from the States and it wasn't like $80 to ship stickers, I would ship you a whole bunch of Stardom Cast stickers. But I think maybe we'll make it work one of these days. Well, I'll ship them to you and you'll probably get it in like 3 weeks. But regardless, big shout out to my good friend Darren Chatton, super friend and super fan of this show. Thanks for helping me out with these attendance numbers and helping me out literally within a few minutes of when I asked you for them. So you are the best, my man. You are the best. So, okay, 3,512 people in Sumo Hall. Great number for Pro Wrestling Noah. As we have Team Marigold defeating Team Pro Wrestling Noah when Julia pins Nagase with the Northern Lights bomb. I had this match at 4.25 stars. This was great. So you had the Marigold team of Julia, Mai Sakurai, Mirai, and Utami Hayashishita taking on the great Sayaka, Nagase, Takumi Iroha, that one I know, and Miyuki Takase. I'm a big fan of Takase. I hope they bring her in to Marigold more. I thought she's fantastic, and I've seen her work in Sendai Girls. Again, I'm going to butcher some of these names. I will get the hang of it eventually. I promise. It took me about 6 months to just get some of the names down for Stardom. So I will, it's a work in progress, folks. So I apologize. Please don't butcher me in the comment section or hit me up on social media. I'm going to work at it. But this was a really, really good match. Mirai did a great job standing out in her new gear. Looked completely different. She, as Rob would say, Pokey evolved up once again. Obviously, Julia's a huge star. Sakurai has the hat that separates her from everybody, and she's really good in the ring. Utami's Utami. And then Mirai just really, really stuck out here with the new gear, and she was fantastic in this match. We give a 4-way brawl to start. We get some hard-hitting action with Utami and Takase, which, again, that's a singles match that I need to see. We get some Mirai and great Sakuya stuff. They trade arm drags back and forth. And then Takumi Iroha comes in And it's like, oh yes, good old Takumi Iroha. Remember her run in Stardom in 2020 and 2021? Between those two matches she had with Mayu and then her fantastic run in the 5-star Grand Prix. She was great here. Again, Takumi Iroha in Marigold. Yes, please. Can you imagine a singles match with her and Julia? Or we do another singles match with Takumi and Utami Hayashishita? Well, they had two. They had the draw in the 2021 5-star Grand Prix. And then Utami had a successful title defense with Takumi Iroha. And I believe it was Tokyo Super Wars. I know it was in the fall of 2021. But Utami, I think, is a better wrestler now than she was 2.5 years ago, and same thing with Takumi Iroha. Some really, really good stuff. Takumi Iroha just looks unstoppable here. But Mirai winds up halting all Team Noah's offense with lariats and shoulder tackles. Again, a Takase versus Utami match, please. Takumi had this really cool O'Connor roll German suplex combination to Utami and Julia. I thought that was really cool. And then we get some really good violent stuff with, again, I'm going to butcher her name, I'm such a huge fan of Nagase and Julia. And eventually, the Great Muta's daughter, and air quotes here, the great Sayaku, goes to Mist, and it winds up hitting Nagase, and then Julia, I thought it was a really cool spot, gets out of the way, finishes her off with the Northern Lights bomb for the 3 count. Again, 4.25 stars. This was a really, really good match, and a really good way to start off what Marigold is doing, and something that's just this terrific. So really good stuff. Really enjoyed the match, and it's going to make me really excited for what they're going to be doing in the future. So, and I did not see the rest of the card. I did see that Kaito Kiyomiya did win the GHC Heavyweight Championship once again, and hopefully, finally, they actually give him a proper run with that belt, because they always seem to be starting and stopping with him. But the Great Muto did come in, Keiji Muto, did come in to put the belt on him. So kind of giving the big stamp to Kiyomiya. Anywho, this is not the Pro Wrestling Noah podcast. This is the Stardom Cast. So we got all that out of the way, folks. Let's get into these 5 shows we are going to talk about, because Golden Week was upon us, and it was fantastic. We go to the very first night of Golden Week, April, all the way back in April 29th, 2024, in Yokohama, in front of 462 people. I think most of these shows were sold out. And if not, they're pretty close, because I didn't see many empty chairs. What I'm going to do is what myself and Rob do all the time. I'm going to run down each match. I'm going to give my star rating, and anything that I think deserves a little bit more attention to, I'll elaborate a little bit on it, just so we're not here for 3 hours. I know everybody likes the 2-hour podcast, the 3-hour podcast, which blows my mind. Everybody likes the longer podcast. This is still probably going to be a longer episode, even though it is solo, because again, I got 5 shows to go through, plus the Altogether show, plus 3 different segments on EO vs. Kairi Watch, because 5 shows wasn't enough. I had to review 3 things on EO and Kairi. By no means am I complaining, because they're all fantastic stuff. And I love doing all the homework for the Stardom Cast podcast, because it's the best wrestling company in the world. I don't have much free time, folks, and I wouldn't be spending my free time on doing something that I don't absolutely love. And I loved all 5 of these shows. I love the All Together match, and I love the 3 segments that we talk about at the end of the show of EO and Kairi Watch. Okay. Very first match, this was great. We really start off these 5 shows with a banger. Azumi defeats Rana Yagami with the double stomp. I had said 3 3/4 stars. This was Rana Yagami's best match. She's one that's constantly getting better. We talk all the time about the last year and a half of these super rookies with Aya Sakura, with Hanako, with Yuzuki. Obviously, Yuzuki is with Marigold. We have Sayaka Kurora. Rian is looking really good as well. Rana Yagami is just, she's like the standout for me, because she works that shoot style that I really like. The submissions, the kicks, the way she melds her MMA into her pro wrestling, the way she's able to do it so well, and the fact that she's teaming with Shuri, and you can see Shuri's influence on her. She's almost like Shuri Light, which is a really good thing. Like, Shuri's probably maybe the 2nd or 3rd best women's wrestler in the world. Like right now, maybe behind Mayu and maybe Utami. Like, really, really good stuff. I was like, this is terrific. Azumi gives Rana a lot. She gives her a really good match here. Again, I know between these 2 shows dropping and then the 2 live stream shows over the weekend and then the pay-per-view on Sunday, I think there was like 5 shows. I think I watched like 5 shows in 4 days. So I know a lot of the Stardom fans are kind of just skipping around, kind of cherry-picking what they have time to watch. And trust me, I completely understand. Everybody's time is valuable. If you have not seen this match, go and see this match. This was great. Again, 3 3/4 stars. We get the second match, which is the rookie Rion versus Kagama. Kagama gets the win with the Kuma roll. I had this match at 3.25 stars. Match number 3 saw the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Champions of our... no, I'm sorry, not the Tag Team Champions. It was one half of the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Champions, Suzu Suzuki, teaming up with Miyu Amasaki to defeat the Cosmic Angels team of Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora when Miyu Amasaki pins Aya via the Tensai. I had this one at 3.25 stars. Again, Miyu Amasaki, Queen's Quest, teaming up with Suzu Suzuki. You're not going to fill the void of Utami Hayashishita. Don't get me wrong, that's not going to happen. But they need to put another main eventer in there. You have Lady C, who's fantastic. She was really good in a lot of these matches. We have Hina, who's coming back from her shoulder injury or collarbone injury. We have Miyu Amasaki, who's ever improving. But you really don't have two main eventers in Queen's Quest, Inazumi and Saya Kamatani. You need that hard hitter. Maybe it's Suzu Suzuki. We shall see. Speaking of Lady C, the team of Saya Kamatani and Lady C ate the big L against the Wedotai team of Tekla and Momo Watanabe when Tekla pins Lady C after the new 3D, the Damundo Death Drop, the double underhook DDT that she does. Boy, not only does Tekla look so refreshed, looks so badass. She has not been in the Stardom ring for a handful of months. She looked terrific here. This is another one that if you're going to be cherry picking, out of these 5 shows, maybe 20, 21 matches, I would definitely put this one on your list. I had this one at 3.75 stars. Really, really good stuff. Lady C to me was the MVP in this match. And a match that you have, in my opinion, the 2 greatest Wonder of Stardom champions of all time, in Momo Watanabe and Saya Kamatani, and a returning Tekla who clearly we're building, especially on these Golden Week shows. You can tell that they're really doing something important with her. To me, Lady C was the MVP of this match. I thought she got enough in. I thought she sold great for Momo's offense. She made Tekla look better than, Tekla already looks. I thought Lady C was terrific here. Again, this is one, if you're going to be trying to cherry pick a couple matches from the past week or so to watch from Stardom, this is one I would definitely watch one. Speaking of a match that I would definitely go out of your way to watch, match number 5 saw the Stars team of Azuki, Mayu Iwatani, Momokogo, Saida, and Hanan defeat the EXV team of Maika, Xena, Waka Tsukiyama, Hanako, and Mina when Hana pins Mina with the 17 roll-up. This might have been my second or third favorite match of all these matches we're going to talk about here. This was absolutely fantastic. Azuki is really, really... she might be one that's like, hold on one sec. I'm going to put my name in the hat for Wrestler of the Year for Stardom. Like, watch out, Mayu. Watch out, Maika, because she was, in my opinion, the MVP of these Golden Week shows. Again, we're going to talk about that main event. Really making a case of like, okay, I signed for another year with Stardom. Let me show you what I can do. Because she was terrific here. Really great stuff here with Maika and Mayu. And I did make mention, I think it was last week or the week before, because the golden goose here is Mayu. Where's Mayu when her contract, expires? Where's she going to end up? Is it going to be Marigold? Is it going to be Stardom? And I told Rob, I said, regardless where she ends up, Maika on this championship run, and I am all for this championship run. Just earlier today, I watched Maika and Suzu Suzuki from when Maika wins the World of Stardom Championship. And I haven't seen that match in a few months. It's fantastic. Maika and Sai Kamatani, terrific. Maika and Utami, low-key match of the year. Maika and Momo Watanabe, the 3 stages of hell match from All-Star Grand Queendom, just fantastic. We get a Maika versus Mayu match. Again, regardless if Mayu is staying or not, we really want to put the stamp here on Maika. Have Maika defeat Mayu for a World of Stardom Championship. Mayu has not had a World of Stardom Championship match since spring of 2022, so over 2 years ago, when on the final night of World Climax, she had that great match with Sherry. So I'm really hoping that we get a Mayu versus Maika match for Maika's World of Stardom Championship, because anytime you have Mayu going for that belt in that big match, again, then you're having Maika, who's clearly somebody that they're positioning as the new ace. That's something that I really, really excited to see. But really good stuff here. Hanako and Saida with the chop exchange, I thought was great. And then we have Hazuki with the boot scrapes to Hanako. Xena, huge chop to Hazuki. Hazuki with the crossface to Xena. There's a lot of mini matches that I want to see that. I want to see this singles match. There was a lot of, you get these multi-person matches on this tour, and you're like, man, I really want to see Hazuki versus Xena proper singles match. I thought that that was really good. All 10 members looked great. It was really shocking to me that Mina Shirakawa, out of this team, you have Waka and Hanako, who, for the lack of a better term, are kind of the pin eaters. It was Hana that pins Mina. So really interesting to see there, and I like that. I like how this new regime has some of these main eventers, these bigger stars, eating pinfalls in these quote-unquote Stardom World shows. It just means more for the match. Again, 4.25 stars. This was absolutely fantastic. We go to match number 6, which saw the team of Ruaka and Natsuko representing Oedo Tai, defeating Starlight Kid and Tam Nakano. Again, a really cool contrast in styles. Now that we have Starlight Kid kind of teasing she might be going with Cosmic Angels. I had this one at 3.5 stars when it was a freezer bomb, and then a freezer bomb with the fruit crate, the lunch crate, onto Starlight Kid. After the match, Oedo Tai beats down one Starlight Kid, and then Mayu Iwatani makes the save. Now, I know Rob and I, we talked about this a little bit last week, just because the pictures and the stills and the story was up on Twitter from last week. However, we didn't get a chance to see the match in context. When Mayu came out, it was kind of like a ooh pop when she came out, like, what's she doing? And not only did she save Starlight Kid, she saved Tam Nakano. So interesting that we're kind of going back to like 2019, 2020 era of stars here. I guess the only question is, what's Arisa Hoshinki doing? That would be something. Would it not? Would it not? But really interesting to see what they're going to do. And I did make mention, maybe Starlight Kid, if I made mention this last week, that if Mayu is leaving to go to Marigold, that maybe Starlight Kid is the heir apparent of Stars and will be the new leader of Stars. We shall see. I know one Hazuki is not happy about that. So again, we have like a story within a story, within a riddle, within an enigma, within a story here that they're doing with all this crazy stuff with Stars, crossing over to Cosmic Angels. We're seeing Azumi and Sai Kamitani cutting promos saying they have their eyes on somebody to join Queen's Quest. So really cool shakeup of the roster here as we're getting into the summer months. We have Flashing Champions. We're going to have Stardom X Stardom going in the 5-star Grand Prix. Some really, really cool stuff. The main event saw the God's Eye team of Shuri, Konami, and Amisori defeating the Cosmic Angels team of Surianu, Natsupoi, and Yuna Mizumori when Konami forces Yuna Mizumori to tap out via the triangle answer. 3 3/4 stars. This was Konami's homecoming match. You can tell because anytime that they would pan to the front row, I think like 80% of the people in the front row had Konami shirts. And it took me a little bit. I was like, wow, Konami's moving a ton of merch here. She's crazy over it. Oh, and I realized she was in her hometown, which was cool. She had the hometown gear. I believe the red and silver and white that she had. Somebody, might have been Karen Peterson, tipped me off to tell me that is the colors of the hometown baseball team that plays in Konami's hometown. So I thought that was really cool that she had that. I thought it might have been a cool little mess that if she wears that when she teams with Shuri, kind of the same color scheme, and they work the same style. I mean, the submission, the shoot style, the kicks, the forearm. So I think that'd be a pretty cool thing. Really good stuff here. Again, another match that I need to see that we haven't seen in a one-on-one match. Shuri versus Soriano. I think that'd be great. Let's see that match. So really, really solid show. Again, with the standouts being the main event, Azumi and Rana Yugami, and then of course that 10-person tag with EXV taking on Stars, one of the best 10-person tags that I've ever seen. And I mention it every week on the show. And if you're new to the show, welcome. I hope you're enjoying. Mentioned every week on the show that nobody does these multi-person matches better than Stardom. It's one thing when you have a one-on-one match. It's one thing when you have a tag match. When you're getting like a 6-person, 8-person, 10-person, everybody has to be on point. If you miss your cue or you're off time or miss something, it's the domino effect, and it could really affect the match. If you don't know what you're doing. But Stardom really has this down to a sweet science. They really do. And this is one of the best 10-person tags I've ever seen in wrestling. So really, really good stuff. Again, if you're going to watch one match from this show, I would recommend that you do go and watch that EXB versus Stars match. We go to the 30th of April in Matsumoto in front of 358 people. Once again, Azumi opens up the show with a win over Aya Sakura. She gets the win with the back roll-up. 3 1/4 stars. Match number 2 has Hanako, the new super rookie, defeating Rian with a big vertical suplex, Harley Race style suplex. I had this match at 3 stars. Match number 3 has the Stars team, speaking of stars, of Saida, Momokogo, and Hana defeating the Queen's Quest team of Miyu Amasaki, Lady C, and Sai Kamatani when Saida pins Lady C with the Itabashi. I had this at 3.5 stars. Then afterwards, we get a little build-up of Saya Kamatani versus Saida, which looks like it is going to be taking place at Flashing Champions on the 18th of May. So Saya versus Saya. We have not seen that match in a long time, and considering the fact of how great Saya Kamatani's been the last 2 years, and how great Saida has been the last year and a half. Super excited to see that one. Again, Lady C was terrific here. Great chop fest between one Saida and Lady C. We go to match number 4 of the match number 4 would be Maika and Waka representing EXV getting the win over the Gazai team of Shuri and Ranugami when Waka gets a win over Ranugami with the Hammerlock suplex hold. I had this at 3.25 stars. Nice to see Waka getting a win here. Remember when they built her up and finally got that big win over Nanai Takahashi at New Blood Premium, and she got a couple wins in the Cinderella tournament last year, and it really looked like we'd be pulling the trigger on Waka. Now she kept eating L's, goes over to EXV and eats L's there. So it's nice to see her get a win here. Again, the new brass is starting booking, shaking things up a little bit for the better. Match number 5 was a tag team 3-way that saw the God's Eye team of Amisori and Konami defeating Natsupoi and Yuna Mizumori, representing representing Cosmic Angels, and defeating the team of Mina Shirakawa and Xena, representing EXV. When Konami is able to follow up the Yuna Mizumori, Amisori hits the Leica Thunderbolt on the Yuna Mizumori. Konami follows up with a buzzsaw kick for a 3 count, 3.5 stars. And again, another match that I would love to see, Konami versus Natsupoi. That would be a fun one. Natsupoi trying to get up out of all the submissions with all of her fancy flips and whatnot. I think that would be something really interesting. Give me a Mina versus Amisori match, and then obviously a Yuna Mizumori versus Xena match where they can just chop each other and close on each other for 4 or 5 minutes. Again, really, really fun stuff. You have really interesting teams here with interesting, maybe possible singles matches that might be coming out of this. So I thought it was a solid match. Match number 6 saw the Uedo Tai team of Momo Watanabe, Tekla, and Natsuko Tora defeating the, makeshift Cosmic Angels team of Tam Nakano, Starlight Kid, and Sayaka Kurora. With Tekla hits the 3D, the double underhook DDT on the Sayaka Kurora for the 3 count. I had this at 3.5 stars. Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe has been one of my favorite tag teams in Stardom since they formed back in 2022. They had a really good run. They had a decent run with the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championships. They had 2 really good matches with Hazuki and FWC. And the fact they were on opposite sides here I thought was really cool because you can kind of see Momo and Starlight Kid really getting into it. And the one thing about all these shows, especially with Starlight Kid on the opposite ends of a Uedo Tai, is Starlight Kid takes the heat. So you have a Uedo Tai, it's like, I know all your secrets. I know how to halt you. So now we're seeing sympathetic babyface selling Starlight Kid to build the fire to tag to, Tam Nakano, who obviously when she comes in, she's a very explosive offense with the kicks and the suplexes and the violent shootings and the forearms and then the dives and whatnot. So I thought it was really cool how Stardom, when they were put together these matches with Starlight Kid, these multi-person matches, that she took the heat, and I think just about every match. So we're going back to like sympathetic babyface selling Starlight Kid, which we haven't seen in 4 years. And obviously Starlight Kid, she was good in 2019 and 2020, don't get me wrong, but she's way better now in 2024. Now, because she was a heel for so long, we're seeing selling with a mask, sympathy, and then the big tag too, whether it's a Natsupoi, Soriano, or Tam Nakano, somebody that has a lot of great fire. So again, a couple small things that really add up to a big thing. It's something different. We're freshening up the roster. We're freshening up some matches. So really, really good stuff here. I just went 3.5 stars. Again, fun stuff. But keep an eye out, folks, when you're watching these Stardom World shows or pay-per-views or live streams or whatever we're getting. Because I think the 2 shows this weekend are live streams that we're getting sympathetic babyface Starlight Kid, and it works really, really well. And I'm excited to see Starlight Kid in a singles match to see her because she's going to have to sell build sympathy, but then not tag out, build her own momentum, get her own heat back. So excited to see how that's going to work out for her. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think it'll probably be a 9 or a 10. I don't think Starlight Kid can have any problem with that, but again, it's something new. It's something different from Starlight Kid. We move on to the main event of the show, my favorite match of the show, as the team of Suzuki, Mei Seira, and Suri Anou defeating Mayu, Utani, Koguma, and Hazuki when Mei escapes the Brainbuster onto Hazuki and then is able to get the Rolling Star for the 3 count. This is 4 stars for me. This was the best match of the show. Again, out of these 5 shows, you can only watch 15, 16, 17 matches. This is definitely one. If you haven't seen it, go out of your way to see it, because basically what this did is, and this was really, really smart booking from Stardom. They did this a few times. What this did, it was basically setting up, it was a free commercial for their pay-per-view for in Fukuoka, to sell pay-per-views, to sell Stardom World subscriptions, to sell YouTube subscriptions, and tickets. And clearly it worked, because they were sold out on that final night for that main event. It's really good stuff, and considering the fact that on your other side, because it's basically a mini FWC versus Crazy Star match. And who they add? Suri Anou on one side and Mayu Utani on the other. I thought it was some really good stuff. Again, I need a Mayu versus Suri Anou match. I think that would be something that I don't think anybody would say no to. A lot of really good stuff. Mayu and Suri, their stuff was magic. We need a Suri Anou versus Hazuki match. Hazuki's been clamoring to get that white belt. She tried to, I think it was only about a few weeks after Suri Anou won the Wonder of Stardom Championship off Mirai at Dream Queendom at the end of last year. She was cutting promos and doing stuff in the ring. It looked like they were building towards something, and they cooled it off. And then it looked like they were going to have Hazuki win not the Goddess of Stardom, the Cinderella tournament. They kind of cooled that off with her getting eliminated in the second round against against Ruaka. So I don't know where they're going with Hazuki. Well, obviously, she's going to be inserted into the tag division. But she clearly on this tour made a statement that whenever you're ready to give me a singles run with the Wonder of Stardom Championship, I'm ready to go for it. And I think the fans are ready to go for it. Suri Anou right now is doing phenomenal with this belt. And I think this is one of the reasons why they did not have Natsupoi win the number 1 contenders match, which we're going to get into in a moment, because I think that's probably the way they're going to go. But Suri Anou is having a fantastic run with his Wonder of Stardom Championship, but I think maybe, I don't know if it's my Hazuki bias. I don't know if many people are going to disagree with me, but when they're ready to tap Hazuki for that, let's go. And I definitely want to see a singles match, regardless it's for the Wonder of Stardom Championship or not, with Hazuki and Suri Anou, because their stuff was really good. But again, the main crux of this match, and rightly so, was Suzu and Mei Seira versus Koguma and Hazuki. Again, you're building towards that main event match, so pretty much the last match on the tour. And again, one of the best matches I've seen all year, one of the best tag matches in Stardom's history. Again, this main event, 4 stars. If you have not seen it, go out of your way to see it. Folks, we go to the month of May. It's going to be May. Here we are. 461 people. We are in Mayu Utani's hometown for a homecoming show in Yamagachi. Match number 1 sees Hana defeating Rana Yugami. I had this with the Hanan special. I had this at 3.25 stars. Match number 2 had Saya Ida, our favorite Saya Ida, defeating Saka Karora with a huge sliding lariat. I had this at 3.5 stars. Match number 3, the hard-hitting keeps coming as we see Shuri, Konami, and Saki Kashima defeating the team of Xena, Waka, and Rian, when Shuri taps out Rian with the belly-down armbar. 3.5 stars. I just have to make mention, I don't think Saki Kashima should be wrestling. She is on a lot of pain with that foot. I don't know if it's something that she just wants to do, or something where she was advertised, or what it was, or she thinks she's better off just going to these shows. I know she's not doing a lot, and they're putting her in these multi-person matches to kind of mask the injury. I get it. I've been injured before wrestling, and I wanted to keep to my commitments and wrestle, and I would have, my tag partners, which Andy Header was, I think, my tag partner for every match that I was wrestling injured in, or hurt. You can wrestle hurt, you can't wrestle injured. So, Xena, Waka, and Rian, they really covered up, and Shuri and Konami on the team side really covered for what Saki's doing, but I think that she should just sit at home for 2 or 3 weeks and just rest the foot. Really, you can just see how badly it's taped up on the bottom. Again, I don't think she's doing any further injury to it, but I think she's better sitting at home, icing it, elevating it. than she is being in the ring. At the same time, maybe she wants to be there. I don't know the reason why, but God bless her for cutting it out. And I mean, really, the biggest. I'm going to do a little standing ovation for her. All the more power to her for the fact she can barely walk, but she's still going in there, giving it everything that she has. So good on you, Saki Kashima. But please be careful. Shuri versus Xena. Yes, please. Yes, please. Again, 3.5 stars. Match number 4. Again, we go to another almost a little bonus match here for the Tag Team Championship. Another little preview as we get Suzu Suzuki teaming up with her Tag Team Championship partner, Mei Seira, and Miyu Amasaki. Again, a little more Queen's Quest here, taking on Hazuki, Kagama, and Momokogo, when it was Kagama getting the Kuma roll onto Suzu for the 3 count. I had this at 4 stars. I thought this finish was really good. How Kagama escapes the German suplex and is able to roll Suzu up with the Kuma roll. So again, and I mentioned this to Rob because again, Rob didn't have internet. I said on Sunday, I texted him maybe about 2 hours after the tag match finished. I said, as good as this tag match was, if you go and watch the matches that lead up to it, it's going to add so much more because you're Kagama getting the win here. Obviously, Suzu gets the win back the show the day before, which we'll get into. So you're kind of building, and it's so even. Then it's dead even going into that final stretch of that tag match. Again, really smart booking. You're planting little seeds. I say it all the time on the show that Stardom really rewards you for being like an ultimate fan. Because if you watch all the shows, obviously, like we do, like that me and Rob do, and then obviously we bring them to you in our reviews in the podcast. They reward you for a lot of little things that makes the big payoff even just more. A little more sprinkles on top of your ice cream, if you will, if you're into that. But this is really good. Again, 4 stars. Great stuff with FWC versus Crazy Star. Again, we're building towards that tag match. And by the time we get to the day before, I was like, this match isn't like 4.5, 4 3/4 stars. It's kind of be like, not a disappointment, but a disappointment just because of how good these preview tag matches are. Momokogo was great in here, and Miyu Amasaki as well. They had some really good stuff. Again, I'm so glad that Momokogo is back. She's healthy. She's in Mayu's movie, which I think is really, really cool. I think I forgot that she's in it. Obviously, Sherry is in there as Kagetsu, and Momokogo is there. I think she's in there as Fumi. I think she's in there as the trainer because I've seen it in the preview. So I think that's really cool that she's in the movie. We're getting to see more Momokogo. I'm such a fan of her work. She's such a nice person. And somebody that when they start doing more expansion over here to the States, that's somebody I think she's going to be tapped to do a lot of cool things because she speaks really, really good English. Probably perfect English. So really good stuff from Momo and Miyu in here. But obviously the main parts of this match is just to give us a little bit of a taste of what we're going to get on Sunday morning with FWC versus Crazy Star. Again, 4 stars, my favorite match from this show. Match number 5 was a triple threat 6-person match. We saw the Uedo Tag team of Tekla, Momo Watanabe, and Natsuko Tora defeating the Queen's Quest team of Sai Kamatani, Azumi, Lady C, and the Cosmic Angels team of Yuna Mizumori, Saori Anu, and Aya Sakura, where once again Tekla is able to hit the 3D, the double underhook, the Domando death drop onto Aya Sakura. 3.5 stars. Get some really good stuff. Not as much Sai Kamatani in this match as I would like, but oh well, what can we do? Azumi versus Soriano match? Yes, please. Sai Kamatani versus Soriano? Yes, please. Yuna Mizumori versus Momo Watanabe. That's what I came out of this exchange with. Those are some matches that I want to see. Again, we're freshening up the roster. We have new matches. We have certain people going in and out of factions. They're going to be wrestling different. Again, Starlight Kid is wrestling more as the sympathetic babyface. So, really, really cool to see. Match number 6. Number 1 contenders match. Ami Sourei defeating Natsupoi with the Leica Thunderbolt for the beating her with the Leica Thunderbolt. I had this at 4 stars. Probably just as good as that tag match. They were right there. I know a lot of people are like, well, Natsupoi's going to win this because then it's going to go to Natsupoi and Soriano. And that's where Natsupoi is going to win the Wonder of Stardom Championship. I believe they're going to get there. I don't think Natsupoi is heated up there just yet. You got to remember, Natsupoi was injured for how many months? 5 months? 6 months? She comes back. She eats the L in that fantastic tag match with Sarapoi versus Chihiro Hashimoto and Sari. So she eats the L there. She ate an L in a Stardom World match against, it was Wingori versus Meltier. Great match, don't get me wrong. Ate the L there. in a losing effort, even though Tam ate the L, and with the All Japan women, with Ito and Aja Kong at All-Star Grand Queendom. So the fact that Natsupoi really hasn't had a big win and a big singles win, and probably at all this year. Like, I don't think she has a really big... I know she got the win on that DDM reunion match, but she hasn't had a big singles win all year. So it's kind of like, okay, well, she gets a win over Ami Sourei, and that makes her the number one contender. I still think you need to get more heat behind her. Like how Soriano was really heated up to defeat Mirai. How Mirai was really heated up to defeat Tam. How Mina was really heated up to defeat Saya Kamatani. Saya Kamatani really heated up to defeat Tam. I mean, Momo Watanabe was white hot to defeat Io, where it's like, even if Natsupoi wins this match, I'm like, I don't know if she's defeating Soriano. I don't think we take the belt off Soriano just yet. Again, I made mention last week, I think Soriano's like a V6, V7, maybe even a V8, not to be confused with the vegetable drink. I think there's a lot more to this title reign, and maybe it is Natsupoi that takes the title off her. I got no problem with that, but not just yet. Not just yet. I got no problem with Ami winning here. Flashing champions, it looks like where this match is going to take place. Ami Sourei versus Soriano. I'm pretty confident that it's going to be a Soriano win, but it's a big spotlight for Ami Sourei. Again, she was kind of like the underneath MVP of the 5-star Grand Prix, the one that was elevated the most. That's what I meant to say. I think a lot of us had Natsupoi as the MVP of the 5-star Grand Prix last year, where Ami Sourei was somebody that really raised her stock. Probably the person that raised her stock the most was one Ami Sourei. So I thought that she was terrific in that tournament, and then she had that really great match with Micah when they had the mini Cork and All tournament to see who was going to challenge Suzu Suzuki for the vacant World of Stardom Championship. She's been terrific ever since. I got no problem with Ami Sourei match here. Again, I think they're building her up just to feed to Soriano, which I have no problem with. That's an easy story to tell. Ami's going to be using her power, her strength to try to bully over Soriano. Soriano is going to kind of be like Muhammad Ali, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee with the insiguris, with the drop kicks, with probably maybe trying to get behind Ami Sourei to throw those insane German suplexes. So I'm really excited for this one. I would not be shocked when we review Flashing Champions if I say that was Ami Sourei's best match ever, because it's probably going to be the co-main event, where I think the main event might be Shuri vs. Micah. They kind of teased that a little bit, or maybe they pull the trigger on that Tam versus Micah match. I believe Flashing Champions is in the Yokohama Budokan, and they're going to want to draw well over into the 4-figure mark, so I think Tam and Micah might be the way to go. Mike and Shira, I wouldn't say no to either. I think that'd be really well, but I thought this was really good stuff. They did play a lot off the Natsupoi versus Ami Sourei match from their 5-star Grand Prix match back in 2023, where it's basically Ami Sourei using her power and strength, but Natsupoi does a great job, throwing forearms back and forth to spin kicks. Really good stuff. There's a really cool spot where Natsupoi goes for the Ferial Gift, misses, and Ami Sourei quickly gets up and hits a big lariat. The Natsupoi fires back up, and even though Ami Sourei is one of the bigger badasses in Stardom, the Murder Pixie does not care. She throws some brutal forearms to Ami Sourei. She locks in the Black Widow to Ami, really starts targeting the arm, locks in the cross arm breaker. Then Ami Sourei is able to do the Rampage Jackson bomb to get out of the triangle choke or the cross arm breaker. Natsupoi hits a German suplex. Then Ami Sourei comes back with a stalling suplex of her own. Ami hits a sliding lariat for a 2 count, and then puts Natsupoi in the torture rack. And then Natsupoi is able to get out of the torture rack with the armbar. The first attempt at the Natsupoi escapes the Blue Thunder Bomb with a Ferial Ring for a 2 count. I thought that was really cool. Then she locks in right after the Ferial Ring when Ami Sourei kicks out. That Natsupoi keeps on contact with Ami Sourei, and then locks in the Fairy Magic. They're rolling Lamai Straw for a 2.9 count. And then she goes for the Ferial Blink. A little bit of miscommunication. I think that's why maybe going a little bit too fast for Ami Sourei. So eventually, though, they get it right. It's countered with the Ferial Blink is countered with the Blue Thunder Bomb and a huge lariat. Then Ami Sourei finally puts Natsupoi away with the Leica Thunderbolt for a 3 count. And then we have the match set up for Flashing Champions Ami Sourei versus Saori Anu for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Really looking forward to that match. That's going to be really good. Again, when we do our review, not unless something crazy happens in the next 2 weeks, I'm assuming that's going to be a retain for Saori Anu. But at the same time, I think it's a match that we're going to be looking at Ami Sourei and be like, ooh, that's going to give her a lot of steam going into the 5-star Grand Prix. So it's going to be a big highlight for Ami Sourei to be wrestling in a big match like that. Again, probably the co-main event of that show in front of, a few thousand people. I think you're going to see the best Ami Sourei that we've ever seen. And Soriano is going to be brilliant. Again, I would not be shocked when myself and Rob should be, knock on wood, be back when we do the review of that show, that we say that is the best Ami Sourei match that we've ever seen. Match number 7, the main event, the Mayu homecoming match. The streamers are back just for one show, just for one wrestler, just for one venue. Come on, Stardom. Let's bring back those streamers back full time, especially in Korakuen Hall. Mayu Iwatani teaming with Tam Nakano and Starlight Kid defeating Maika, Mina Shirakawa, and Hanako, where we see Mayu and Starlight Kid doing the MK Sisters elevated high cross body to Hanako, and then Starlight Kid positions Hanako in the perfect spot for Mayu Iwatani's moonsault. Phenomenal match, 4 stars. Again, we got some really good interactions with Mayu and Maika. Let's get that because they have not had a proper singles match in quite some time. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head if they had something in the 5-star Grand Prix, but this is a completely different Maika. I mean, as good as Maika has been in 2021, 2022, and in 2023, she's fantastic. Coming off, almost winning the 5-star Grand Prix at the end of last year, winning that one-night tournament, defeating Ami Sourei and Momo Watanabe in Korakuen Hall, where everybody was behind Maika. And then again, this championship reign that she has is something. I have Utami Hayashishita vibes with it, where it's kind of like, okay, we've never seen her. She's never won the white belt. We've only seen her in main events here or there. Can she carry main events and have these great matches? And to me, she has. I think every one of her matches is 4.5 to 5 stars. Every match that she's had for this World of Stardom Championship. And then you're going to put in the ring with Mayu, who outside of Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson is probably the overall wrestler of the year, in my book. I mean, Mayu, legend, still in her prime, putting on great matches and singles matches, tag matches, 6-person matches, Mayu versus Maika match. Oh, yes, please. Yes, please. That's something that I hope they do. I hope they pull the trigger on whether Mayu's staying or leaving. I would love to see Mayu versus Maika for the World of Stardom Championship. And I think that would be the shot in the arm that Maika needs. As great as she is, she's not on the star level of Utami, of Mayu, and Shuri, considering the fact that she defeated Utami. And then if she gets a win over Shuri, and if she gets a win over Mayu in a main event of a big pay-per-view in front of a few thousand people for the World of Stardom Championship, I think that's just going to really cement Maika as their current ace of the company. Mina Shirakawa versus Starlight Kid. That's an interesting matchup. I thought their stuff was really good. We did see some really cool Stars, old school, I mean 2019, Stars triple team work with Mayu, Tam, and Starlight Kid. But really, I liked how Mayu and Tam, they didn't miss a beat. They really didn't with the double 619s, Tiger Fan Kicks, whatever you want to call it, into the German suplexes, the standing moonsaults. And I thought the finish was really cool because, again, you have Mayu, who's pretty tall. You have Starlight Kid vaulting off Mayu's shoulders from the second rope. And then Mayu's already on the second rope. So all Starlight Kid does is she puts Hanako in position. Mayu goes to the top rope. And then she just turns around and does the moonsault. A really cool 1-2 combination. Really cool to see these three together. Really cool to see streamers back. Come on, Stardom. You know that you're listening. Give us a Mayu versus Maika match. And give us streamers back. Especially these big shows. Streamers are cool, man. Streamers are cool. It already adds. Stardom has a great presentation with these great wrestlers, these great matches, great booking, great championship matches. It just adds to it. Again, Mayu versus Maika. Mayu comes out, 3,000-4,000 people. They throw the streamers, the blue streamers at or whatever. Maika comes out, they throw the red streamers. She wears red and she's the red belt champion. Come on. It sells itself. I'm literally giving you great ideas. Printing money here for you, Stardom. Because that's what I do. I support my favorite wrestling company that is Stardom. We go to May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Boy, I was busy that day. And I'm a giant Star Wars fan, folks. I watched 20 minutes of Star Wars. I had all the Stardom show to watch. That my interview with Alyssa Marino was that day. It was a busy day in the best way possible. I love doing this. Love doing this podcast. Thanks to everybody for all the fantastic support. We go to Komoto. May the 4th be with you in front of 383 people as Shuri defeats Shuri, ? Aya Sakura. I don't know if her gear got lost or if it was in the wash, but it was Aya Sakura dressed as Sherry, wrestling actual Sherry, where Sherry submits Aya with the sharpshooter, Scorpion Deathlock, whatever you want to call it, at 3.25 stars. I like that Sherry uses this to kind of defeat the underneath talent. I think it's a really cool move. Obviously, Sting just retired a few months ago. That's where it's kind of noted for me. Being such a huge fan of WWF in the 80s and 90s, Bret Hart was my guy. So I'll always call it the sharpshooter, especially the fact that Sherry is a shoot-style wrestler. See what I did there? And she wrestles very sharp. See what I did there? Put it all together. I know Rob's probably listening to this, like, shaking his head, like, can't believe I podcast with this guy a couple times a week. Anywho, yeah, you're not here to govern me, buddy. Like, the cuffs are off, so all the crazy stuff is here. So, oh, by the way, buy Rob Goodwin's books on Amazon.com or the Amazon app, Living the Dream and Chasing the Dream. And if you buy both of them at the same time, if you don't have them, you get free shipping. You can probably get them 2 or 3 days. So there you go. Here's a cheap plug for my buddy. Match number 3, three-way dance. Saki Kashima on one foot, defeating Rian on.
Remember Chuck Norris? The man so strong that he birthed an entire category of jokes about his unparalleled strength. We all have a favourite joke, right? Chuck Norris can do a wheelie on a unicycle. Some people are afraid of the dark. The dark is afraid of Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris makes onions cry, and the evergreen, when Chuck Norris does a push-up, he's pushing the earth down. Have you ever wondered what happened to him? Well, I recently saw a video of the now 84-year-old Chuck Norris, and let me tell you, he still looks like he can beat the sun in a staring contest. He says he's even stronger, has more stamina, and plenty of energy left over for his grandkids since making one simple health change that helps his digestion and nutrition. In fact, he still says he feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even made the same change, and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger and has more energy than an Azumi and Starlight Kid high-speed match. Many of us, myself included, do not include the necessary fruits, vegetables, and other herbs that increase health and energy in our own diets. And it's a lingering problem for a lot of us. And actually, I don't mind telling you that my stomach feels like it's been on the receiving end of a Hazuki pump kick on more than one occasion because of it. However, Chuck Norris has made a special video that explains how he has incorporated these things with just one simple product. And you can watch it now by going to mymorningkick.com/stardomcast. It may change your approach to your own health. Once again, that's mymorningkick.com/stardomcast. And now, back to this week's episode.
When Hanako hits a suplex on Rian, but then Saki steals the pin, was what it was, 3 stars. Again, seeing Saki just really gutting it out really just goes to show you how much she loves this business, which I love to see. Match number 3 saw Amisori, Kunami, and Ranayugami representing God's Eye defeating the Stars team of Mayu, Utani, Momokogo, and Hanako when Amisori pins Momokogo with the Blue Thunder Bomb, 3.5 stars. Solid stuff. The main thing here is let's keep Amisori strong going into her Wonder of Stardom Championship match against Serianu. Match that I want to see, singles match, maybe 5-star Grand Prix. Konami versus Hanan. Konami looks great since she's going. It looks like Konami's put on like muscle. I've noticed that like her legs looks like she's definitely does not skip leg day because her legs look like there's more muscle in them, which goes for what she does because she throws a lot of kicks, so you're getting more strength behind it. And then her submissions, she uses her legs a lot for her submissions, the triangle answer. So I noticed that like her shoulders look bigger and her arms look bigger. So it really looks like she's adding on a little bit of muscle mass. That again, she's a striker, she's a hard hitter, so it's just going to add more impact to what she's doing. And I think Konami's looked great since she's come back. A lot of really cool matches that I can't wait to see. And I'm pretty sure she's going to be in the 5-star Grand Prix. Considering the fact we haven't seen her in the 5-star Grand Prix since 2021. She made it to the finals of the 2019 5-star Grand Prix, only to lose to the late great Hana Kimura. But Konami was great here. Again, Konami versus Hana. Yes, please. We go to match number 4. One of my favorite matches on this show saw the EXV team, Maika, Mina Shirakawa, Zena, Wakasukiyama, defeating Queen's Quest team Mayu Amasaki, Lady C, Azumi, and Sai Kamatani when it is Mina Shirakawa hitting the implant DDT on the Lady C for the 3 count, 4.25 stars. And I liked how this match ended with Micah and Mina just dominating Lady C, really dominating the ring. Micah and Mina powerbomb, heart attack combination onto Lady C, and then Mina follows up the powerbomb with the implant DDT. 4.25 stars, great stuff here. Sai Kamatani and Micah, they don't miss. They don't. If I was booking Stardom, I would just keep heating Micah up. Again, Tam, Shuri, Mayu, all matches, championship matches she needs to win between now and Dream Queendom, and then I'd maybe build somebody else up for a championship match somewhere, maybe at a Cork and Hall show. Again, with now that they're doing more and more live streaming to kind of build up the subscriptions, the subscription services and the subscription spot for Stardom World. But then I would have Sai Kamatani win the 5-star Grand Prix. Not just win, but considering the fact that 5 stars like 3.5 weeks long, I'd have her like 1 loss, 1 draw at the most, maybe not even lose, and then just run the field. And then just run the field and make her really strong, and then just build Saya back up from her loss that she had at the beginning of the year at the anniversary show with Micah, and run that match back. Because now you're having a different Saya. She's coming off a high-speed championship run, because she's the current high-speed champion. You have Micah just dominating Saya, Utami, Momo, and then again, I would give her a win over Mayu. I would give her a win over Shuri, and that would be the match that I would have at Sumo Hall at the end of the year. Because these two don't miss. They don't. Really good stuff. Lady C and Xena, low-key match I want to see. Lady C was great here, maybe the MVP of this match. Mayu Amasaki and Mina Shirakawa worked really well together. Waka does a great job as a role player in these multi-person matches. O2 line, their stuff was really, really good. Excellent stuff here. And considering the fact that usually when you have Sai and Azumi in these tag matches, even when it was Utami in there, you would always see some really cool stuff with Sai and Azumi. And we saw a little bit, but the tag team that was focused on the mat on the most here was O2 Line, which was Azumi and Mayu Amasaki, which makes sense because they'll be challenging this weekend for the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championships at Cork and Hall, and plus they were in that match in the Nippon Budokan Hall this past weekend as well. So that was really smart booking to really highlight them, what they did. Some really cool spots there with O2 Line. They're one of my favorite tag teams. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Azumi. Mayu Amasaki gets better and better every time we see her. She might be the one to, maybe if they build her back up, to dethrone Rina for the Future of Stardom Championship. Not sure where they're going with that, but regardless, excellent stuff. Highly recommend this match. 4.25 stars. And folks, here we go. This was, again, I love this booking. We have the team of Suzuki, Mei Sarah, Crazy Star, and Sayaka Kurora defeating Saya Ida, Kagama, and Hazuki, representing Stars, when Suzuki pins Kagama with the tequila roll. So again, you had 2 shows prior, or the show prior, you had Kagama with the Kuma roll, her quick pin on Suzu. Suzu getting the win back with the tequila roll on the Kagama. Again, Saya Ida was great here. Sayaka Kurora was really good. Again, she's another one that very much like Ronnie Yugami was like really good when they started, especially for a rookie. Then it's like, it seems like they're wrestling 4 or 5 years when they've only been wrestling 7, 8 months. So really good stuff. But again, we're hammering home this Crazy Star versus FWC match. Again, to the point where I'm like, this match just needs to deliver, but there's no way that it can't deliver, not unless something crazy happens. So, again, really good stuff. I had this at 4 stars. Terrific stuff. And for some reason, if you have not seen that match with FWC and Crazy Star, I would do, or if you have and you have some free time on your hands this weekend, I would watch these matches leading up to it. Watch these 2 or 3 matches leading up to it with Crazy Star and FWC as like your appetizer, and then maybe like your salad, and then your side dish, and then make your main dish. Now I'm making myself hungry. And then make your main dish that match of the year candidate with Crazy Star versus FWC, because they do a great job building everything up, which will ultimately be one of the best tag matches in Stardom history. Match number 6 saw the Oedo team of Tekla, Momo Watanabe, and Natsuko Tora defeating Tam Nakano, Starlight Kid, and Natsupoi, now known as Starlight Kid and Natsupoi, now known as Mutual Love, which I thought was pretty funny. And Stardom is doing a great job. And shout outs to our friend over that are running the We Are Stardom page now that Sunny is no longer obviously running the We Are Stardom page. He's doing the Marigold stuff and did a phenomenal job with Stardom, and I know he'll hit a home run with Marigold. But shout out to our friends that are running the We Are Stardom English Twitter page, because they get a lot of really cool content up there, including Natsupoi, our Starlight Kid, doing the dance, practicing the dance backstage for Cosmic Angels. And she doesn't have her mask on. Obviously, her back is towards the camera. But you see she's practicing the dance and her mask is on the ground. So it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. So it's just going to show how important it is for her to learn the dance. And again, whether she goes to Cosmic Angels, whether she goes to Stars, maybe she goes to Queen's Quest. I don't know. But again, it's really shaking things up. It really, really is. So Natsuko defeating Starlight Kid with the Swanton Bomb, 3 3/4 stars. Again, really good stuff with Tam, Starlight Kid, and Natsupoi, especially Starlight Kid and Natsupoi hitting some dueling dives and having some really good tandem offense. And this goes to show you how great Natsupoi is. Not that I need to sell to anybody listening to this podcast about how great Natsupoi is, but she's a great singles wrestler. We know that. She was a great high-speed champion. She was a great contender every match she's had for the Wonder of Stardom Championship, whether it was the Tam match, the Saya Kamatani match, or the Mina Shirakawa match. Obviously, I think we're going to get that Suryanu versus Natsupoi white belt match somewhere, probably in the next 6 to 8 months. She's a great tag wrestler. Mai Himipoi, as far as match quality goes, maybe the best Artist of Stardom Championship team. Really great quality matches with Mai Himipoi. Then they put her with Tam, Mel tier. Had Tam not got that main event push to win the World of Stardom Championship last year, maybe Mel tier could have had a 6 or 8 month run with those titles. And again, if you're new to Stardom and you've only watched Stardom a year, go back to Stardom X Stardom 2022 with Mel tier versus FWC. That's a great match. Probably my top 5 favorite Stardom tag matches of all time. Really, really good stuff. So we know she's great with Mel tier, with Tam. Great with Soriano. Again, they only had a little bit of a run with those tag belts, defeating Rose Gold. Phenomenal match. Mina Shirakawa, Mariah May. They're all over TV, especially Mariah May. She's all over AEW TV. And if you're new to Mariah May, that is, and I mentioned this because I did that, like I mentioned about an hour ago when we started this podcast. I mentioned to Andy Header when it eventually comes out. I mentioned to Andy Header that my favorite Mariah May match that she's ever had is the tag match with her and Mina, where they drop the tag straps to Soriano and Natsupoi. And then you go and watch Soriano and Natsupoi versus Crazy Star from last year. Natsupoi, I mean, she's a great team with Starlight Kid. She's having these great tag matches. So we know she's a great singles wrestler. She was great with Mai Himipoi, part of DDM. She fits in like a glove with Cosmic Angels, teaming with Tam, teaming with Soriano, now teaming with Starlight Kid. It just goes to show you what a great versatile wrestler Natsupoi is. Really good stuff. Here, this one was another solid match. Again, we're just building heat and building sympathy, babyface heat for Starlight Kid in this match, eating another L. We're really just breaking her down to bare minimum. To eventually, I can see her going through each and every member of a Oedo Tai to eventually get to Tekla. And then maybe Tekla defeats her. Maybe she has a singles match with Ruaka, beats her. Momo Watanabe, which, oh, yes, please, beats her. Tora beats her. She finally gets to Tekla, and then Tekla beats her, and then we break her down and build her back up again. That's a story you can run with for 6 or 10 months. Really good stuff. Main event, which I was surprised this was the main event, but it was really good. Yuna Mizumori. Folks, I sing Yuna Mizumori's praises all the time. She's such an improved wrestler over the last 12, 15 months, and I love it. Eating the L over Soriano. Soriano defeating Yuna Mizumori with the Tom's Tantra. I had this one at 4 stars. Really good stuff. Obviously, these two are they're in the same unit with Cosmic Angels. When Tam was injured, and when Natsupoi was injured, and before Aya and Sayaka Kurora came into the fold, Soriano and Yuna Mizumori were the only 2 members of Cosmic Angels. And they had some great tag matches on these Stardom World shows. Really, really good stuff. Soriano and Yuna Mizumori have really great chemistry as tag partners. And they had really great chemistry here in the ring with each other. Again, really good stuff. The fact that we've had a couple matches here, 4 stars or above, just goes to show you how great these Golden Week shows really are, or really were. So we go to the final Golden Week show. We go to May 5th in Fukuoka. Sold out crowd. Stardom made mention about 24 hours before the show started that this was a complete sellout. Another thing that I do want to make mention is that a lot of these crowds were really into everything. Where we've seen the Stardom shows, not just the Stardom shows, but sometimes you get those Japanese crowds where they're very quiet, they're very respectful. And I get that. It's completely different than what we have over here at the States. Or we had a Backlash over in France, which we'll get to when we get to the Io and Kyrie watch, where the crowds are just molten hot, where the crowds are really into everything, especially this show in Fukuoka, especially in the main event, and especially for what I'm now dubbing the wrestling machine that is Hazuki, because they were really, really pulling for her, especially towards those final moments of this match. So it really adds to the crowd. It really adds to the matches and really just the magic that is pro wrestling when the crowd is into everything that you're doing. And they were really hot for all 5 of these shows. Match number 1 had Waka getting another win over Aya Sakura, with Waka defeating Aya Sakura with a double underhook pin, which I call the Waka slide because Marufuji does the same thing. He calls it the Marufuji slide. So I call it the Waka slide. 3 stars, but Waka picking up two W's here. 2 W's here on Golden Week. Good for her. Good for her. Match number 2 was a 3-way dance. This was really good with Hanako, Konami, and Yuna Mizumori, with Konami tapping out Hanako with the triangle answer. 3 3/4 stars. I thought this was excellent stuff here, especially with Konami, Yuna Mizumori. Hanako looked really dominant here. Konami and Yuna Mizumori, the 2 vets of this match, really gave the rookie Hanako a lot to shine in this match. Really built her up, which at the same time, and then she eats the L at the end with the tap out. If they just kind of squash her and Konami pins her, who did Konami submits her? Who did Konami beat? Really nobody. Really nobody. So when you build somebody up like Hanako was built up in this match, only for the end for Konami to beat her, it makes Konami look that much stronger. And I like how Konami, again, looking great in these matches, getting a lot of wins. Again, we're really building Konami up to be, might be the summer of Konami, folks. It really might. Match number 3, O2 line, Azumi Miyu Amasaki defeating the Cosmic Angels team of Saka Kurora and Natsupoi when Miyu Amasaki pinned Saka Kurora with a Tensai. I had this at 3 3/4 stars. Another really great stuff with Natsupoi and Azumi. Natsupoi and Miyu Amasaki had really good chemistry, which I was shocked but not shocked because, again, how great of a wrestler Natsupoi is and how much Miyu Amasaki is improving. I'm not, when this match started, I was like, oh, I can't wait for this Azumi and Natsupoi stuff to start. And that's how it started with Natsupoi and Azumi. But then we get some really good, fantastic O2 line teamwork on Saka Kurora. Natsupoi with the basement dropkick to both Azumi and Miyu Amasaki. And then Miyu and Saka Kurora exchange some forearms. We get some really good new double team moves from O2 line, but I liked how Azumi sets Miyu up for the finish. Azumi hits that insane double stomp from the top rope that lets Miyu Amasaki pick up the pieces, hitting her finisher. They set out pedigree, also known as the Tensai. Again, 3 3/4 stars. Match number 4, the God's Eye team of Amisori and Saki Kashima defeating Sai Kamatani and Lady C when Amisori hits the Blue Thunder Bomb onto Lady C, but then Saki Kashima gets the college try win onto Lady C. 3 1/4 stars. Really wasn't much to this. Sai Kamatani really didn't do much. Amisori, they kept her looking strong. Lady C, to me, did the majority of the work in this match. Saki Kashima really couldn't do much, so you're working with the handicap. Again, 3 1/4 stars. It wasn't like it was a 15-minute match. They were in and out, I think, like 7 minutes. Did what it needed to do. I would have loved, especially on a pay-per-view, sold-out crowd, I would have loved to see more from Saya Kamatani, but understandable. Ultimately, this show is going to be remembered for these last few matches, especially that main event. And again, Saki Kashima getting another win here. Again, I don't think she should be wrestling, but God bless her. She's really gutting it out and doing everything she can to put on the best performance that she can. Match number 5 saw the Uedo Tai team of Tekla, Momo Watanabe, and Natsuko Tora defeating, I guess, the makeshift Cosmic Angels team of Tam Nakano, Starlight Kid, and Suri Anu when Momo Watanabe pinning Starlight Kid with the Tequila Sunrise. I had this at 4 stars. I like the bell rings in the Cosmic Angels trio jump Uedo Tai, which is that's Uedo Tai's thing. And they get the advantage only for a minute or two when Uedo Tai turns it around, and we get the Uedo Tai brawl, where brawls all over the building because, as Rob always says, Uedo Tai has to Uedo Tai. Momo Watanabe just crushing Starlight Kid with kicks. Give me a Momo Watanabe versus Suri Anu match, please. We get some heat on Starlight Kid. Again, that seemed like what happened in every single one of these shows. Sympathetic babyface heat to Starlight Kid. builds up the hot tag to Soriano. Soriano comes in hot, but then we get a second heat onto Sayori. Makes sense because now we're building up for either hotter tag to Tam Nakano. As great as Starlight Kid is, as great as Soriano is, the leader of this faction and the main eventer, the merch mover, the ticket seller is one Tam Nakano. Not the other two ladies aren't, don't get me wrong. But again, I like how it's like a little bit of heat to Starlight Kid. Soriano kind of comes in for the, I won't call hot tag, the warm tag. And then we build to the real big hot tag, which is Tam Nakano. I like that psychology. Tora with the cannonball to Starlight Kid. Momo Watanabe follows up with the Samato for a 2 count. Starlight Kid with a locomotion Northern Light suplex for a 2 count. We get the waterfall finishes back and forth. Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe exchange some really, really good forearms. You can see Starlight Kid is really firing up on her former tag partner, Momo Watanabe, in these matches. The Inhumane Driver to Starlight Kid for a 2 count. Momo Watanabe goes for the Tequila Sunrise. Starlight Kid is able to roll up Momo Watanabe for a 2 count. Eventually, Natsupoi comes in to help out her tag partner, and they hit the assisted spine buster, which allows Momo Watanabe to open the door and to slam it shut on Starlight Kid's head with the Tequila Sunrise. Again, 4 stars. Excellent, excellent match. Folks, we go to the Artist of Stardom Tag Team Championship match. Maika, Mina Shirakawa, EXV making their first title defense against Mayu Iwatani, Saya Iida, and Hanan. A lot of gold on that Stars team. You have Mayu as the IWGP Women's Champion. Saya Iida and Hanan are the New Blood Champions, and of course Hanan just won the Cinderella tournament, was ever so close of upending Soriano to win the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Folks, if you've seen this match, you've heard this podcast before, you know what I'm going to put over right away. Big lockup with Saida and Maika. Really good stuff with Saida and Maika. I did make mention that I would like to see a Korakuen Hall successful title defense for Maika on one of these live stream shows. Let's heat up Saida. Let's go Saida and Maika, folks. Maybe at the end of the 5-star Grand Prix, maybe going into the fall, October, November. You know, the weather's cooling down. Korakuen Hall will be red hot for Saida versus Maika. World of Stardom Championship match. I think was it Maika and Utami? Was that the last Korakuen Hall red belt match? I think so. I could be wrong, but Rob is here would tell me because it would be in his book, Living the Dream, Stardom's 10th anniversary in review for my good friend, Rob Goodwin. So if that match did happen, it was in 2021. But regardless, he'd be able to tell me. We get some eye contact, double teamwork, meaning Mayu and Hanan. Really good stuff there to take down Maika and Mina. We get some Xena versus Saida Chop Fest. Really cool stuff back and forth. Mina Shirakawa hits the Arista kick to Saida. We do get the Mayu Iwatani evasion drop kick to Mina. Wingori comes in and they do some double teamwork onto the champion. That makes sense. So you have Maika as the champion here, probably the strongest, biggest badass between the other 6 wrestlers. So Wingori comes in for the teamwork to take down Maika. So I like that. Strength in numbers. Really cool spot there. Xena hits a top rope power slam spot onto Hanan. I like that. I hope she does that more on these bigger shows. Maika follows up with a stalling suplex for a 2 count. The Venus Tower onto Hanan. For you Chikara fans, the anthill. Mayu hits a dive to the floor. Hanan special to Maika for 2. The Sazanka from Maika to Hanan for 2. Michinoku driver gets blocked for the 17 roll-up for a 2 count. At this point, the crowd is really, really hot. Eventually, though, we do get the washing machine double teamwork from Xena and Maika to Hanan. Maika pinned Hanan with the Michinoku driver. 4 1/4 stars. Excellent, excellent match. Another great match in the catalog for Mayu, for Hanan, for Saida, for Maika, for Mina, and for Xena, who is great to see her back. She plays her role really well in these matches, especially, you know, when she's in there with 2 big main eventers like Maika and Amina. And again, Xena, the 5-star Grand Prix is going to look different. We have no Tommy, we have no Julia. Xena's somebody I like to see slotted in the 5-star Grand Prix. I think very much like an Ami Sori in 2023 and Amina in 2022, the year before, is somebody that's kind of like the middle of the card that can get elevated up to like lower, some of that you can probably put in maybe for like a Wonder of Stardom Championship match in like 6 months coming off this tournament. So really good stuff here. Really enjoyed this match. I thought this was some really good stuff here. And again, Saida versus Xena, terrific stuff. Mayu versus Maika. Let's go, Stardom. Let's do it. All right, folks. Main event time. Here we go. Here we go. This is what it's all about. You want great wrestling. You want great tag action. Here it is. Here we go. FWC, Hazuki and Kagama defeating Suzu Suzuki and Mei Seira when Hazuki hits the brainbuster onto Mei Seira. This match went, I think, about 21, 22 minutes. This is 5 stars for me. As far as my top 5 favorite matches of the year in all of wrestling, in no order. Well, I'll give you number 1 is Danielson versus Ospreay. And then in no order, it's Mayu versus Shuri from the Stardom Gate show at the beginning of the year. It's Mayu versus Sari. It's Takeshita versus Ospreay, and it's this match. Those are my top 5 favorite matches that I've seen this year. Stardom has had, I'd have to sit down and write down. If you were like, Matt, you're a tag team wrestler, you enjoy tag wrestling, you appreciate tag wrestling, what are your top 10 favorite tag matches of the year? I think 8 of them are from Stardom. Between Saori Poi versus Chihiro Hashimoto and Sari, Mayu and Julia versus Maika and Soyanu from that Korakuen show, the 4-way tag match from All-Star Grand Kingdom a couple weeks ago. But this takes the cake. This takes the cake. And if you've listened to this podcast for over a year, you know that I will always champion the greatest Stardom tag match of all time. One of the greatest wrestling matches of all time in any promotion. And folks, almost being a fan for 40 years, I've seen a lot of wrestling. Is that from Korakuen Hall, Thunder Rock, Mayu, Iwatani, and Io Shirai versus Kairi and Meiko Satomura. Just a phenomenal, phenomenal pro wrestling match. I think this is my second favorite tag match in Stardom history. I would really, really have to think. I know a lot of people message me saying, this is my favorite tag match I've ever seen in Stardom's history. And I was like, have you seen the Mayu Io versus Kairi and Meiko match? And because we have a lot of newer watchers to Stardom that started watching wrestling this past year, or 2022 or 2023. Like, no, I haven't seen it yet. I'm like, I'm not saying you're wrong. You know, wrestling's subjective. You can like what you like. But I would watch that match and then compare it because this was terrific. Again, I'm trying to think what my second favorite tag match in Stardom would be. If it's not this, it might be Crazy Star versus Saori Poi. It might be Meltier versus FWC. It might be Aphrodite versus Momo Oz from Korakuen Hall after Momo Oz and Momo Nozumi won the 2020 Goddess of Stardom tournament. This was all sorts of fantastic. You have FWC comes out in new gear. And obviously Suzume. And again, Stardom, the booking of Stardom, genius. Build. You have Golden Week. You know you're having, 5 shows in 7-8 days? So you're literally putting Crazy Star versus FWC in some form or fashion in just about every one of the matches. And then you're building, and then you get this. So you get I'm not going to go through everything, but there's a lot of highlights here. You get a forearm fest to start. Crazy Star, great teamwork on to Hazuki. And by the way, everybody was great in this match. Everybody was great. Hazuki really showed out in this match. And again, she's somebody that us Hazuki fans, which majority of us are because we appreciate the effort and energy that she puts in. We're like, why isn't she getting a white belt match? Or why she's not getting a white belt run? Or how come they won't give her a World of Stardom Championship match on like a main pay-per-view? Because she's so good and have great matches with everybody. I really think this is Hazuki saying, okay, I'm staying with you guys another year. Again, I'm assuming she re-signed her contract for at least until March of 2025. She's like, let me show you. You're not going to give me that white belt match. You're not going to give me that red belt match. You're going to get me eliminated in my first match in the Cinderella tournament. Let me show you how damn good I am. I'm finally getting a main event match in a pay-per-view. It's in my hometown. I'm with my good buddy Kagama. And then I'm harassing 2 people I know I can have great matches with. Let me show you. She was in a majority of this match. Like 70-75% of this match was Hazuki. And it's why it worked so well. Because she did everything. She had the hard hitting with Suzu. She had the fast pace with Mei Seira. She had the double team work. Not only doing the double teams with Kagama, but taking the double teams from Crazy Star. Taking the suplex. And she never looked tired. She sold. She built sympathy. The crowd was so behind her in this match. I mean, don't get me wrong. Kagama was great. Again, this is maybe the second, third greatest tag match in Stardom's history. This again, if you were to say, Matt, you have 2 hours, write down your top 25 greatest tag matches you've ever seen. I think this is in there. I think this might be top 20. This is in there with the Rock and Rolls versus Midnight, the Young Bucks versus FTR versus the Briscoes versus Kings of Wrestling, Kawada and Taue, Holy Demon Army versus Masao and Kabashi. This is probably up there, maybe 15, 20. Again, I really have to think about it. I've seen a lot of good tag team wrestling, Bulldogs and the Hearts. I mean, it works because Suzuki was just an absolute machine in the way that she built sympathy and then fire. The crowd was so behind both her and Kagama here. Just really great stuff. And again, 20 years ago, again, I come from the Ring of Honor Wrestling School. Very proud of it. 20-some years ago, Austin Aries used to call himself the Wrestling Machine, and rightfully so. Early 2000s, Austin Aries was untouchable. I think we need to call Hazuki the Wrestling Machine. Let's do it, folks. Let's rally behind Hazuki. Let's rally behind this podcast. As this drops, we're going to start calling Hazuki the Wrestling Machine, because that's what she was on this entire, that's not what she was, that's what she is. She is a wrestling machine. And Hazuki really showed to everybody in this crowd, all the fans, and all the brash at the new regime of Stardom. You put me in a main event, I'm going to knock it out of the park. And then I'm going to knock it out of the park again. I'm going to score touchdowns or use slam dunks, three-pointers, whatever sports cliche you want to use. You put Hazuki in the main event, whether it's a tag match here. You put her in the main event with Micah. You put her in the main event with Suryanu or Natsupoi, whoever, for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. You give her a 7, 8, 9, 10-month run with the Wonder of Stardom Championship, the belt that she's chasing, the belt that she said at that press conference back in 2023 before a match with Saya Kamitani. The reason why she came out of retirement is to challenge for that Wonder of Stardom Championship, and she comes closer and closer and closer. You put this Suzuki, the wrestling machine that's Suzuki. My favorite wrestler in all of wrestling. Yes, I'm going to say it. So I get asked almost every week, who's your favorite wrestler in all of wrestling? I say I can't pick anybody. But if I had to, maybe it would be Hazuki. I'm telling you right now, Hazuki's my favorite wrestler in all of wrestling. No disrespect to CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Will Ospreay, Samoa Joe, love all Mayu. They're all Sherry. They're all great. Hazuki's my favorite wrestler in all of wrestling. She's the wrestling machine. She proved it here in this match. Really great. I liked how they're building some heat onto Hazuki. Kagama comes in. We get some double teamwork onto Suzu. Suzu's able to come back with the double spirit at FWC. They made Suzu, she looked like an absolute beast here as well. We get a Kagama and Suzu forearm trade-off. We got a lot of Kagama. She's mostly comedy wrestler, but she was really bringing the violence to Suzu here. We get some Hazuki and Suzu violence. Codebreaker to Suzu Suzuki. Suzu hits a top rope Hurricanrana and a German suplex. Hazuki fires back, great fire again with the crowds getting all behind her. Mei Seira with a step through STF to Hazuki. Action is fast and intense. Hazuki with a pump kick and a springboard drop kick to Mei Seira for a 2 count. She locks in the crossface on the former high-speed champion. Suzu makes the save. We get some crazy star teamwork. Kagama stops the lung blower German suplex combination, which is pretty much their go-to. Crazy Star hits a double dive. Mei Seira hits a blockbuster hold to Suzu. Mei Seira locks in the modified Dragon Sleeper to Hazuki. At this point, the crowd is really rallying behind Hazuki. They're doing a great job knowing where to put the moves, where it's going to get the most reaction. So not only was this a great match for all 4 of these wrestlers and the 2 teams, the psychology and the crowd psychology, knowing where to put what, knowing when to pause, know when they're putting in submissions, know when to take off submissions, the timing that they had for this crowd. They were able to read this crowd like a book, which was the benefit to this match and the benefit of this crowd. Crazy Star hits the assisted lung blower. Kagama and Suzu exchange German suplexes back and forth. We get a Hazuki straw onto Mei Seira for a 2.999 count. The Rolling Star for a 2.99 count onto Hazuki. I like how FWC, this is the genius that is behind the Stardom tag matches. They try for their double dive, which is Hazuki goes for the suicide dive, and at the same time Kagama does a dive off the second rope to the floor. They tried it like early in the match, but it got halted, and then they bring it back and they do it here to the bigger pop. Again, it wouldn't have got that big of a pop or meant that much if they did it at like the 7-8 minute mark whenever they teased it. But as we're getting close to the 20-minute mark here, they hit it here. Again, knowing where to put your moves. Really cool spot. Back in the ring we go. That Hazuki gets a Brainbuster reverse for the Rolling Star for 2.9. Again, playing out the previous matches. Tequila shot to Kagama, and then the lung blower German suplex combination to Hazuki. But they weren't done yet. Mei Seira then does the hammerlock Liger bomb that we rarely see her use to Hazuki, and I thought that was the finish. 2.9 kicks out. We get the, then Mei Seira goes for the new finish that we love so much, the checkmate. However, it gets blocked by Kagama on the save. We get some FWC teamwork, a brainbuster for a 2.9 when Suzu breaks it up. We got some back and forth work with Mei Seira and Hazuki. Eventually, Hazuki gets the better of Mei Seira. Kagama has Suzuki blocked on the outside, and Hazuki hits a teardrop picture perfect brainbuster for the 3 count as we have new champs. Again, this is 5 stars. This is as good as professional, pure professional wrestling gets. No BS, no this. This was terrific. Even to the point where May, at the end, she had tears in her eyes. I know a lot of people were tagging me saying, oh, May was, poor May, she lost the high-speed championship a month ago, or less than a month ago in Philly. Yeah, Jesus, yeah, a month ago. Wow, I can't believe it's been a month since WrestleMania. And then she loses this belt. And I'm like, that's not what it is. Like, it's obviously it's a work. The belts, they do mean something. They're props. I think she's in tears because she knew that they knocked it out of the park. And as good as May Sarah is, how do you top this one? I'm not saying she can't. It's going to be difficult. How do you top one of the best matches in Stardom's tag history? How do you top one of the best tag matches that this guy who's seen a lot of wrestling, watching wrestling literally his entire life, from all sorts of wrestling companies, all sorts of eras, all sorts of countries, how do you top one of the best tag matches I've ever seen? I think she was crying because she knew what a piece of artwork that this was. This was a beautiful match. I don't say this often. It's a perfect match. There's very few matches that I can say that was a perfect match. This is a perfect match. This was absolutely terrific. We have the O2 line challenge to start to that's going to happen in Korakuen Hall. And I know, and obviously I'm going to cover it in a second here, but I'm going to talk about it now. Obviously, O2 line, they dropped the L to Mutual Love, Starlight Kid and Natsupoi. I don't know if I might just call him Starlight Kid and Natsupoi. I don't know if I'll get used to that name. And a lot of people are like, I don't know about the booking from Okada because Crazy Star just won the championship back at the end of March. They lose to FWC here, and then the number one contenders lose in the Nippon Budokan Hall into a giant show. It doesn't make sense, and I understand that. At the same time, the tag division is so tight, and the tag division is so competitive that very much like NFL playoff football, where the teams are so evenly matched that anybody can win. And it's not like that FWC ran the table here. There was a lot of times it looked like Crazy Star was going to win. I eventually think they're going to run this match back. I think the reason why they pulled the trigger on an FWC win is the same reason why they pulled them winning the tag belts back 2 years ago. 2022. Because it was in their hometown. And you wanted to end this sold-out show, Golden Week, with the biggest pop. Would it still going to pop a Crazy Star one? Probably, because this match was so good. But the fact that you're adding on a great match with crowd psychology, and then you're giving everybody the ending that you want, just makes it so much better. Again, you look at Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns from WrestleMania 39 last year. It was a really good match. Not many people remember for how good of a match it was. It was because nobody wanted Roman to win, and then he won, and everybody left unhappy. And then you look at what happened at WrestleMania this past year. Cody finishes the story, gets the win. If you're asking me, technically, the better match was WrestleMania 39, but the better ending was WrestleMania 40. And ultimately, that's what that WrestleMania is going to be remembered for, as one of the best endings in WrestleMania history. Again, if Crazy Star would have won this match, it would have been like, yeah, that was a great match, but it's not the ending we wanted. At the same time, they gave us an ending that we wanted. And you can literally do hot potato with these tag belts. They don't do it with the red belt. They don't do it with the white belt, which I love because they protect those belts. They make them mean something. You never see it flip-flopping back and forth. FWC here gets the win. The first ever 3-time Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Champions. You can make an argument that they are one of, if not the best, tag team champions in the history of this company. I'm still going to go with Thunder Rock, Mayu and Io. How do you beat them? What a dream match that would be. But again, you're giving the perfect ending to what was a phenomenal show, sold out show, by giving the hometown heroes, Suzuki and Kagami, in new gear, great in their new gear, the big win here. And again, you can hot potato this. We have O2 Line versus Korakuen Hall again, FWC. We have Flashing Champions coming in a couple weeks. It's Flashing Champions. The tag belts are going to be on the line. Does Crazy Star, they run this back in an instant rematch classic and Crazy Star take the belts back? I got no problem with it. Do they do Natsupoi and Starlight Kid? And I'm not saying they're going to win the belts right away, but I got no problem with that. Is it something where FWC has these belts for a month or two and they drop it to Crazy Star and then they give Crazy Star, the big 5-6 month run? That's a possibility. Oh, when does Wingori come in? When does Eye Contact come in? When does Meltier come in? Say Report. They never lost the tag belts. A lot of different things that you can do. But the tag, do Mina versus Micah. Can you imagine Mina versus Mike and Mina versus FWC match? Like, holy jeez, let that go 30 minutes. Like, I got no problem with a draw there. There's so much they can do. I got no. This isn't just me saying because I'm a huge Hazuki fan. Obviously, I love Crazy Star. But I got no problem with this. I think this was the right call because it was in Fukuoka, FWC's hometown. Really great match, great finish. I can't wait to watch this one back again. I've only watched it once. I'm going to watch it again maybe this weekend. This is a match that I know definitely me and Andy are going to do for breaking down certain psychologies and building because this was great. This was absolutely great and definitely well worth the praise that it's getting online. Folks, we go to our last Stardom match of this podcast as we were almost at 100 minutes. Solo podcast. I didn't think this one would hit an hour and a half. But and I know there are a few out there that are like, oh man, it went under 2 hours. What are you guys doing? Solo podcast, 5 shows. I might be able to hit the 2 hour mark here. Let's see if we can maybe stretch it out. We're getting close. Regardless, we go to the Nippon Budokan Hall, the house that Mitsuharu Misawa built. In my opinion, this is when I first got into Japanese wrestling, when I started being tape trader, 96, 97, All Japan, the Budokan Hall, that was it for me. All Japan in the 90s is my favorite era of wrestling. Misawa, Kawada, Kobashi, Taue, Akiyama, bringing in Dr. Death, Steve Williams, Terry Gordy, Stan Hansen. Those crowds were always hot. So whenever anybody runs the Budokan Hall, I'm always like, oh, this should be interesting. Obviously, Stardom's only run it once. I would love to see them run it again. Maybe if these rumors with Io and Kairi are true, maybe when we bring them in, we do get the Io versus Utami match in Budokan. I think that'll draw 4,000 or 5,000 people. Regardless, another story for another day. This show did 4,583 people. When I understand the altogether show, I didn't see it last year, did over 6,000. So this was, again, if I have these figures right. So obviously that's a big, big difference from last year. I don't know what the draw was or the non-draw was. I don't know if Muto was on the show last year. It's a possibility. Part of his 2-year retirement tour. I think it was 3 years. But regardless, this match we had Starlight Kid and Natsupoi. Mutual Love defeating the O2 line team of Azumi and Miyu Amasaki with Starlight Kid. Pins Miyu Amasaki with the Tiger Suplex. I had this at 3 3/4 stars. There's really good stuff here. I liked how they mashed up Starlight Kid and Natsupoi's entrance theme. I thought that was really cool. I liked Stu Fulton was great here when it comes to knowing his the backgrounds of the wrestlers. He did a great job on the Marigold match, the Pro Wrestling Noah match from May 4th. He really knew like the championship history, and I think he did the commentary for All-Star Grand Queendom. And we made mention a couple weeks when we did the live podcast. For some reason, I think when I bought the pay-per-view, I didn't hit live commentary, our English commentary, or something. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. So I know it's on Stardom. Well, now I'm going to go back and watch some of those matches and listen to the English commentary. But he's great. He's got a great voice. He knows the championship history, which I absolutely love. It just builds these wrestlers up, especially on a show like All Together, where maybe you've never seen Stardom before. Like you're only getting it. You're only watching it because you have people from All Japan or New Japan or Pro Wrestling Noah, like some of those companies over the last 30 years that are more known than Stardom. Obviously, Stardom's only been in existence for 13 years, so you would probably know them just a little bit better. So, I thought this was really good. Again, the mashup with Natsupoi and Starlight Kid's music I thought was really cool. Starlight Kid having a half Starlight Kid mask and half it looked like silver and white representing Natsupoi, I thought was cool. Natsupoi new jacket, I think, and new hair, maybe hair extensions. I'm sure if I showed a picture to my wife, she would tell me if she has hair extensions because I don't think hair can grow that fast. I could be wrong. I don't know. Regardless, really good match. Azumi and Starlight Kid, we have the high speed start. I mean, it's a no-brainer. You're in for over 4,000 people, legendary venue. A lot of these eyes have never seen you before. I think these girls had like 10 minutes. I wish I went a little bit longer at the same time. And that was enough time. Zooming Starlight Kid to start, of course, it's a no-brainer. You want to have people be like, oh, what is this that I've never seen Stardom before? And I always make mention whenever somebody says, or what they would say, because now it's happened, whenever somebody would say, well, if AEW and Stardom have this partnership, who's one person you'd put on TV? I'm like, Azumi should blow people's minds. And she did with that match with Toni Storm. And looks like she's going to be part of Forbidden Door coming up here at the end of June. Anywho, Azumi and Starlight Kid, high speed start. Excellent Starlight Kid, Natsupoi, drop kicks back and forth. Stereo, cartwheel, and standing drop kick spots from Mutual Love. I thought that was really cool. double arm drag head scissors to Natsupoi, from Azumi to Natsupoi. Azumi just so good. Natsupoi German suplex to Azumi. O2 line teamwork with the kick sandwich I thought was good. Azumi Sushi reversed from Natsupoi into a roll-up for a 2 count. Miyu Amasaki coming in with the saves. DDTs to all. I thought that was really cool. Azumi insane double stomp to Natsupoi. We know Azumi gets crazy height on that double stomp, and we know Natsupoi can eat a double stomp. And boy howdy, the one that she ate at All-Star Grand Queendom from Ito was something. But this one was a little more impressive, I think, if you ask me, because Azumi's height that she gets on those double stomps was just crazy. Hammerlock DDT from Miyu Amasaki. Miyu Amasaki is like the odd person out in this match, because like Azumi, main eventer, Starlight Kid, Natsupoi, fantastic. And it's like, Miyu will be good here. They did a great job putting her in really good spots where she shined. And again, she's somebody that's improved so much over the last 6 or 7 months and just really shines here with this O2 line team. Starlight Kid locks Miyu in the leg crusher submission. We get some new moves here. Well, I guess they would be new moves because Starlight Kid and Natsupoi aren't a tag team. A catapult sliced bread from Starlight Kid to Miyu Amasaki. Tag team German suplex from Starlight Kid and Natsupoi. I thought that was really cool. That they basically each had like a half a waist lock and did a German suplex. I thought that was a neat spot. Starlight Kid with the 180 splash to Miyu Amasaki, and then as Natsupoi takes out Azumi, Starlight Kid takes out Miyu Amasaki and pins her with a Tiger Suplex, 3 3/4 stars. Really good match. And again, yeah, a lot of people like, how did O2 Line lose here if they have the tag match at Cork and all? It's still going to be great, folks. I'm not worried about it at all. Maybe they had Natsupoi and Starlight Kid get the win here, because maybe they are going to come out at the end of Cork and Hall, at the end of that main event with FWC this weekend, and maybe they will challenge FWC, who I'm assuming is going to retain. Maybe they'll challenge FWC at Clash of Champions. Oh boy, what a match that would be. Can you imagine if we get Micah versus Tam, which that might be the way they're going, or Micah versus Shiri, Suriano versus Amisori, and then we get Starlight Kid and Natsupoi versus FWC. Can you imagine those are your 3 title matches? And then Sai Kamatani versus Saya Ida. Yeah, because we have that match as well. Can you imagine those are your 4 title matches for that pay-per-view coming up on the 18th? Well, happy birthday to me. What a great birthday present. And I don't ask for much, folks. I don't. But I'm going to ask Stardom, give you the Tam match, the Shuri match, or the Mayu match for Micah. That would be one of the 3 things. Pick one. Honestly, she can wrestle Han, and I think it would still be great. But regardless, folks, we have not had much of Io and Kai rewatch. So we figured me covering 5 shows wasn't enough. Me covering 2 bonus matches wasn't enough. Me doing more work for the Patreon because, hey, it's my birthday month, and my birthday present is to give more contact to you, the fantastic friends and family of the Stardom Cast, isn't enough. We have not 1, not 2, but 3 segments on Io and Kai rewatch. So let's get into it. Actually, before we get into it, I do want to make mention of what is going on with the whole Hazuki thing, with Hazuki and Starlight Kid. Obviously, Hazuki is very upset that Starlight Kid has joined or may join the Stars unit. Mayu did ask Starlight Kid to join Stars. Hazuki didn't like it. Rob made mention of it last week, basically saying that you were in Stars, you left to become the villain. The only reason why you're coming back or might come back is because you got kicked out of there. Again, I don't know how long this FWC tag round is going to be, but if you're asking me who to replace with Tommy Hayashishita in Queen's Quest, again, you can't replace her. I think Hazuki would be a perfect fit to go back to Queen's Quest. Azumi and Sai Kamatani made mention on these post-match promos and on social media that they both have their eyes on the same person to join Queen's Quest. And it may look like it may be Suzu and May. I would like it for it to be both. If they're going to do Suzu and May, I would not want to split Suzu and May Sarah up as Crazy Star. They're great tag team wrestlers. I wouldn't want them to bring Suzu in and then May go somewhere else and then we don't see Crazy Star ever again. At the same time, I guess FWC, you don't want to split them up, but at the same time, and maybe I'm being selfish, because Suzuki is my favorite wrestler and Queen's Quest is my favorite faction. That'd be a good fit. Again, you're looking, Queen's Quest has always had that bruiser. You had Momo Watanabe. She was the big bruiser, the hard hitter for Queen's Quest for years. She left. Utami was already in there. Utami becomes the leader. You have Utami as the hard hitter. No disrespect to Sai Kamatani, who's a great striker. Azumi, who's a great striker. Lady C's throwing those big boots like she's Bruiser Brody, and the chops like she's Kenta Kobashi. I think if Suzuki or Hazuki, you need to bring in the Bruiser. I think that either one of those would fit the mold. And I think that, again, I think they're going to hot potato these tag belts. I think eventually they're going to go back on Crazy Star. And I can see this rift with Hazuki and Mayu, with her letting Starlight Kid back into Stars, forcing Hazuki's hand to leave Stars. And I can see Hazuki going back to Queen's Quest. Obviously, Hazuki, when she first debuted, she was part of the very first iteration of Queen's Quest when Io turned heel on Mayu and split Thunder Rock and then formed Queen's Quest. So Hazuki, when she was HZK, very much like Izumi HZM, very much baby Hazuki. So I think Hazuki, if that's the way they go with it, I think Hazuki would be a perfect fit into Queen's Quest. So I had that noted, and I just wanted to just kind of quickly make mention before we get into Io and Kairi watch. So once again, folks, sorry here, sip of water here for the working man. All right, Io and Kairi watch. We go to SmackDown, May 3rd, 2024. Obviously 2024, as we have what's probably the last Damage Control match on SmackDown, because last week Damage Control did get drafted to Monday Night Raw. We are in France. This crowd was so insanely hot. They wanted to see pro wrestling in the worst way, and they did, as we had a really good 8-person tag as Bayley, Naomi, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair defeating the team of Dakota Kai, Kairi, Asuka, and Tiffany Stratton when Bianca pins Dakota Kai after the KOD. Some really good stuff here. We really built a bit towards Bayley and Tiffany Stratton, which will be the next day on the pay-per-view. Kairi and Asuka, we kind of have a mini match with Jade and Bianca Belair. Very similar what they did with FWC and Crazy Star, just nowhere near as good, in my opinion, but in front of more people. It is the WWE, so I thought it was really good stuff. They only had a few minutes to tell their story. Everybody got in what they needed to get in. I'm glad to see Dakota Kai back in the ring and healthy, because she's looked really good in these matches. We go to the next day. We go to Backlash, WWE Women's Championship match, as Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair in the reign of Kairi and Asuka when Bianca Belair pins Asuka after Jade Cargill hits an insane Jaded onto Kairi, and then Asuka tries to come in for the save, but is halted by Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair hits the KOD onto Asuka, and when she hits the KOD onto Asuka, that she hits it onto Kairi. So a really, really cool finish. I saw reviews of this match before I was able to watch this match, and a lot of people were saying this match was clunky, it missed here, it missed there. There was a couple of things where they got confused of who the legal person was, and the referee did a great job of saying, like, I don't care what spot you have called, that's not the legal person. I'm not calling a fault. So I thought that was really, really good. And the commentators did a good job covering it up. The match starts off with a forearm trade-off with Bianca and Asuka. I thought there's some really good stuff. Jade Cargill overpowers Kairi. Obviously, Jade is right now, in May of 2024, she's being presented as the biggest star in this match. She's the one with the least experience. You're going to have Bianca, who's a proven WrestleMania main eventer. She's going to carry the load for the team. Kairi and Asuka are phenomenal. They're going to carry the load as far as bumping and feeding and placing where everything needs to be placed. I think that's one of the things with the communication, because Jade is still newer, even though she's wrestled for the 2 biggest wrestling companies. She's still newer, so when something like that, like the little misfire of where somebody needed to be, it was kind of Kairi was trying to call certain things, and then you have almost like a little communication breakdown with the Japanese to English. Eventually they got back on track, but they did a great job. Jade did a great job in her spots here, especially towards the end. Kairi hits this insane dive to the floor. She must have thought she was in Korakuen Hall onto Bianca Belair. Really good stuff. There was Jade, again, Jade being as newer as she is, getting hit with these spinning back fists from both Kairi and Asuka, and the kicks and the forearms. Her feed, her selling, her placements. Obviously, she's being presented as a star, so she doesn't need to be bumping and feeding, like she's a Starlight Kid. So I thought that her feeding and everything was really good. I like the code breaker, neck breaker combination that the Kabuki Warriors did to Bianca Belair. I'm a big fan of that teamwork. Really good heat onto Bianca. Again, the crowd was really into everything. Again, they got a little confused. Eventually, once they got everything back and rolling, the finish was great. I mean, if you haven't seen the finish of this match, it's Kairi coming off the top rope for the big smashing elbow. Jade catches her, twirls her around like 180 degrees, then picks her up into the Jaded, hits the Jaded. Asuka comes in the ring. Bianca cuts her off, hits the KOD to Asuka onto the prone Kairi that just got hit with the Jaded and then pinned. Again, very much like the tag title match for the FWC versus Crazy Star. It peaked when it needed to peak. They knew when to finish it. The crowd was as hot as it was going to be. The crowd psychology was really good. I thought it was a really good match. The negativity that I got on Twitter, as usual, was not worth it because it was like the good definitely outshined the bad. It was a little communication breakdown. The rep did a great job of keeping who was supposed to be legal. Really good stuff. Really great match in front of an insanely hot crowd here at Backlash. And again, it's awesome because it's like, you're going to get hot crowds in like New York, Philly, England. You're going to have like the respectful people in Tokyo, in Japan for certain wrestling. But like, I don't know if I've ever seen maybe like a WWE show in like 92 in France with like Bret Hart on it. France hasn't had wrestling in a long time, especially like on this level, and they're so starved for it. Remember last year they did Puerto Rico. The crowd was crazy hot for it. The Clash of the Castle show. Crowd was crazy so hot for it. So it's awesome that WWE's going into every area and like just drawing huge crowds. The crowds are into everything. Everybody's getting over, and it's making the matches that much better. So good on WWE for doing that, and really cool. So I'd love to see AEW maybe go over to England. Well, obviously they are for All In, but like go to a France, a Spain, a Japan. I think that'd be really great stuff because wrestling, you can make an argument it's the most popular sport in the world. I know MMA, soccer, because that's all over the place as well, but wrestling's a universal language, and it really shows here in France how everybody from match 1 to the main event, everybody was crazy over. We will finish this podcast up with what was one of the best Monday Night Raw matches that I've seen in quite some time. But to be honest with you, I fast forward through quite a bit of Monday Night Raw. The King of the Ring, folks, or the Queen of the Ring. I was excited. All the brackets for both the men's and the women's for the King and Queens really, really loaded. Io Sky, I'm going to call it Io Shirai, versus Natty Neidhart. I'm a huge fan of Natty Neidhart, Natalya. She's a great wrestler. Just a great ambassador for the sport. I mentioned a couple weeks ago about how like she's been very vocal that she hasn't re-signed her contract or her extension yet, and she's made mention like she wants to go over to Japan to wrestle Mina. Like, just tell Triple H, like, look, I'm gonna finish my career here. Let me go to Japan while I'm still healthy. I'm still can go out and kick ass. Let me do a 6-8 month run in Japan, and like have her do freelance work. Let her go work for Sendai Girls, Stardom, Marigold, Tokyo Joshi Pro. Let her wrestle the Miyus. Let her wrestle the Utamis. Let her wrestle the Minas. Let her wrestle the Mayus. I think Natty, 6 to 8 month tour to Japan, I think it would be terrific. And then you bring like, obviously your husband, Tyson Kidd, TJ Wilson. He can't wrestle because of his neck, but bring him over as a second. Like, he's very well respected in Japan. Like, the Hart name is very well respected in Japan. I think it'd be a no-brainer. I think that'd be like the best thing for her. Like, hey, I'll come back to this. You're really not doing much with me because you have all these stars. I'll come back here. I think I see Natty as somebody that when her wrestling career is over, which shouldn't be for more a couple of years because she's phenomenal. She's still got a lot of gas left in the tank. She can be a trainer at the PC. She can be a road agent. Like, she knows wrestling, especially the WWE style wrestling, so well. But I would love to see her on the Japan run because she's just so good. This match was great. Great wrestling to start. Io fires up with some forearms and chops. Eventually, the action spills the outside. Io misses an Ase moonsault, and then Natalya gives her a Yakuza kick. And when she does, Io flies into the side of the apron. I thought that was just insane. Just the boot from that Natty gave to Io and the bump that Io took. Natty hits a superplex. Io comes back with a quesadilla into the double stomp. Natty hits a Liger bomb. How about that for a 2, which I thought was cool. Io goes once again for the quesadilla double stomp, but Natty gets out of the way, is able to double leg Io Shirai, puts her in the sharpshooter. We get a little bit of interference from Dakota Kai. It's enough for Io to get out of the sharpshooter and then have Natty going head first, the back of her head first, into the middle turnbuckle. Io then follows up with the Samato and the moonsault for a 3 count. This was a fantastic match. I had this one at 4 stars. Really good stuff. Really good way to kick off this tournament. I'm not sure who she's wrestling in the next round. I did not get a chance to take a look at the brackets, but really good stuff, and probably one of Natty's best matches she had in a long time. And it's not because she's not good enough. It's just because, in my opinion, she's never given the opportunity to have kind of a longer match on TV, especially with a talent like Io. I think, again, Natty's terrific. Hopefully they do something with her. If not, have her go to Japan. Have her go to Japan. Give her a run. Give her a run. So I think, folks, as we're getting close to the 2-hour mark, I think I got everything. I think they got it, folks. That's going to wrap it up. that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thanks to everybody for sticking with us for just me doing the solo podcast for 2 hours. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with me over this next week or two for doing these alternate commentaries solo by myself. I hope everybody enjoys all the new content we have coming out. Like I said, that interview with Alyssa Marino should be up on the feed in the next week or two, and then probably in the next week or two, you will see the video on our YouTube channel. That'll be free for all. And again, thanks to everybody for the support, all the new Patreon members, all the new 5-star reviews that we have coming in. If you have not left us a 5-star review, please leave us a 5-star review and a comment. It really helps the algorithm out, really helps us out with some really cool stuff. If you have not subscribed to the Patreon yet and you're not sure, just go onto the Stardom Cast website or click on our link tree on the Patreon page, and then you can just shop around. It doesn't cost anything to look, see if there's anything that tickles your fancy, see if there's any alternate commentaries, roundtable discussions, retrospectives that you would like to see. Speaking of retrospectives, we are bringing it out of the vault since it is a huge topic, since she's a huge topic lately. My review that I did on Azumi's high-speed championship run, that'll be coming out of the Patreon vault in the next week or two, and that'll be up on everybody's free feed. And then the retrospective, once again, the retrospectives will be on the free feed as just a thank you to the listeners, as we are over 1 million downloads for this podcast, which is crazy to say. So by the end of the month, the retrospective, again, that'll be on the free feed, will be myself and Rob Goodwin will be looking at Mina Shirakawa's star-making performance in the 2022 5-star Grand Prix. I'm about halfway, a little more than halfway through the homework there. Some of these matches I have not seen in 2 years. That match she has with Hazuki, I think it's like night 6 of the tournament, is really a low-key hidden gem. I think I had it as my match of the week that I put on my on our YouTube channel not that long ago. So super excited to release the Azumi high-speed championship run from the vault, and I'm super excited to present myself and Rob to go back and watch all of Mina Shirakawa's star-making performance in the 2022 5-star Grand Prix. So that's everything that you can expect for the month of May. So again, folks, thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for hanging in there. Again, Rob will be back hopefully in a week. Fingers crossed. But and again, if anything does come out a little bit later than normal, it's just because with Rob not having internet, I'm leaning on Sean to doing all the uploading. Again, he works 2 jobs. He's a father. He's a husband. He does a lot. He's got a lot going on. He showed me his schedule. He's super, super busy. I know when he uploaded this alternate commentary, I think he was up to like 3 o'clock editing and putting it together. So yeah, he's super busy. So if anything comes out late, I apologize. Everything's going to come out. It's going to be great. We're going to get nothing less than 110% of us. So, and Sean, I know you listen to these podcasts. Thanks a million, brother. You know how much I appreciate you. Can't do this show without you. And just like how I can't do this show without you, the fantastic listeners of the Stardom Cast. Folks, questions, comments, any suggestions you need from me, just shoot me in. The email address is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. However, the best and quickest way to get a hold of me is just send me a DM on the Instagram and or the Twitter. Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and or the Twitter is the best way to get a hold of me. Obviously, the Stardom Cast as well. You can message the Stardom Cast on Twitter, and either myself or Rob will get a hold of you there. But that's going to wrap it up for this episode, folks. Greatly appreciate your support. Can't do it without you. Oh, and don't forget, I hope that you all enjoy Talk is Jericho, because Talk is Jericho with myself and Rob Goodwin would have dropped Wednesday, May the 8th. So I hope you enjoyed myself and Rob Goodwin talking to, once again, Chris Jericho about all things Stardom. We had a really, really good conversation with them, and I hope that you enjoy that episode. And hopefully we'll be back sometime on Chris's podcast by the end of the year. So again, we appreciate your support on that. Can't do it without you because, like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast because we're all together. Everybody's different. Everybody's special.